this. Hey, you guys, it's your girl Tisa. I want to talk about this crazy story that's coming from nasty ass North Carolina. So now this woman has been in the news literally every few months. This whole situation is a mess. If you guys remember back in early 2015, a woman named Marie Holmes, she won $188 million Powerball, okay? So she won this. She claimed she's going to give some money to her church, get a house, do this and do that. One thing that this idiot has consistently done since winning this money is bail her damn boyfriend out of jail, okay? Now, a lot of folks have asked me to speak on this. You know, I really didn't even want to go there with this whole situation because I just felt like, you know what, she's an idiot. It's her money. But at this point in time, something with this entire situation makes no sense to me. For the fourth time in less than a few months, she has bailed her boyfriend, not her husband, not her baby's father, her boyfriend out of jail. And this time she posted a $12 million bond on the second day of January. We're only a few days into 2016, and this bitch wins the award for being the most ride or die hood rat 2016.
Kudos to you, bitch.
And I now want to present Marie with a ceremonial big check.
The Powerball winner's boyfriend was bailed out of jail again for the fourth time at a $12 million bond on Friday. Marie Holmes, McDowell's live-in girlfriend, ranked in a multi-million Powerball jackpot in February.
This is going to make a huge difference for them. Like, they're going to be able to go to school, not have to worry about paying for it. They're going to be able to live a comfortable life and not worry about struggling.
This time, Lamar, Hot Sauce McDowell, 31, is accused of arranging a street race Saturday, and police said he was arrested Tuesday for violating the terms of his pretrial release on earlier charges. Back in October, he was bailed out again, and investigators in the Brunswick County say McDowell is a gang member. Local attorneys say his bonds are skyrocketing because the amount automatically doubles if a defendant breaks the rules of a pretrial release. Efforts to reach Holmes and McDowell were unsuccessful Friday night. McDowell's previous arrests include drug, assault, and weapons charges.
This whole situation makes no sense to me whatsoever. You know, this man has been arrested, charged for heroin possession. She's built him out for several $1 million before. And when people confront her about this and drag her on social media, she's saying it's her money. She can do what she wants with it. And that's very true. It is her money and she is allowed to do with it what she pleases. But I just think it sets a bad example for her children that she's sitting there condoning this man's behavior. And it's clearly obvious that at the end of the day, this man does not love her. If he really cared about her and he really loved her, you got a chick who is worth $188 million. His only focus should be about building something with that, flipping that money and doing something legit with it. You know what I'm saying? Making businesses out of that money as opposed to draining this woman. The whole situation makes no sense whatsoever while she's steadily bailing this guy out of jail. He obviously loves being locked up. He obviously loves jail because his ass can't seem to stay the hell up out of there. You know, my thing is I could see the first time she bailed him out, but the second, the third, and now the fourth time, obviously he likes it, and obviously he knows he can do what he wants to do because this idiot will continue to bail him out. Now, another thing that bothers me with this entire situation is the fact that he was arrested this time for setting up some type of, you know, illegal street race, and they're saying that his bond is $12 million. What I find funny about that is the fact that Ethan Couch, okay, the little white boy who killed 4 people, his bond was only $1 million. So it makes me feel like, are they purposely jacking the bond price up because they know that this woman is a lottery winner and that basically she can afford it? And that's more money to help, you know, the taxes in that county. She really needs to think about the bigger picture as opposed to just trying to bail out her boyfriend. This whole situation to me just makes no sense whatsoever. Damn, bitch, is the damn dick that damn good? Are you that damn digmatized? Because I don't understand why the hell she keeps bailing out this idiot time and time again for well over $1 million.
I thought the red pill got mad at Black women who would leave their man.
Wait, okay. So she's standing by her man. Isn't this their message?
Exactly. But oh wait, she should have chose better. That would have been the second.
Right. I forgot. You know, we can't forget about that.
Rule A and Rule B, that pretty much covers them.
Right.
You know, you defend your man no matter what, and then oops, you should have chose better. So even if you leave your man so you can choose better, they're against that.
Right, because you know that adds to the high divorce rate.
Right.
And then
exactly.
if you have a child by him, you're supposed to stay with him and stick it out.
Right.
No matter what he does.
Yeah, no matter how many lefts or rights you take.
Right.
Doesn't matter. Supposed to be there. In the house, JP. Happy Life is in here. Siobhan is in here. We got the geniuses in the house, telling you. We got all the scientists and geniuses up in here. Quita's in the house.
It just makes no sense whatsoever. And my thing is, has she not won the lottery, has she not won the money, what would she do then? His ass would be sitting in jail where he needs to be, okay? Anyways, let's go ahead and get the discussion popping, y'all. Go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this entire disturbing story, honey. That's once again coming from nasty ass North Carolina. All right, deuces. You guys,
I'm going to quote one of my favorite lyricists, Siobhan. Some people weren't meant to live. Like, they should have been eliminated with evolution. And we're keeping this going by birthing them.
Yep.
I only buy them when I can, so I just decided to buy it. I told Mom to go get it for me, and that was the winning ticket.
So what is the first thing you're going to buy?
First, I'm going to pay my tithes because I wouldn't have none of it went for God. So after that, I'm going to set up accounts for my kids, and when I figure out where we're going to live, I'm going to buy a house for me and my kids, and then I'm going to make sure my family's good.
Tell me a little bit more about your struggle and how many kids you have.
I have 4 kids, 1 boy and 3 girls. So, like, I've been struggling since I had them, but I wouldn't trade nothing because they're a blessing. So I'm just thankful that I can actually do it for them without anybody's help. So without anybody telling me that they did this or that. So I don't have to worry about the word struggle no more, and neither do they.
Your whole life is about to change. How are you feeling about that?
I'm ready for it. I'm ready to embrace the change, you know.
But is there like just one thing that you want? Like something else, like a car or?
I'm gonna get all of that. Car, house. I'm gonna get everything that I ever wanted, and I don't know what I'm gonna like actually do for myself. I mean, the car and the house is something for me, but I don't know like something that I really want to do for myself. It'll hit me soon.
What made you want to get this lottery ticket?
When I heard how much it actually was, I was just like, well, what does it hurt to actually pay? So I just decided to go for it. And my uncle actually sold me the winning ticket.
What do you want them to remember about this moment and about you?
This is all for them. Like, everything is all for them. All the struggle that I ever went through, it was all for them. And I just want them to understand that money doesn't change you. I'm just grateful for this moment, and I kind of wish that my grandma was here to see.
Pause it, DJ.
I know.
Something she said that was quite interesting is she said, money doesn't change you. And we will see that it's clear that money doesn't change you as we follow along with this story. Yeah. Welcome to the panel, JP.
Yo, what's good, man? I came in late, so I'm just gonna fall back a little bit. And,
okay.
Okay, JP. This is just a tragedy right here. This is a woman being fit, friendly, submissive, and everything. And you just see the tendencies of African American men just destroy that. All he had to do is just be decent. He didn't even have to be a good man, just a decent guy. And he totally destroyed this woman and whatever wealth she had.
No, she's looking down on me, and happy that I finally made it. Like, we finally made it, and I can actually do this for my kids.
Did your grandma raise you? Why do you want your grandma to witness this?
Because she's always been there for me. Like, she's been a second mom to me. She never told me no. So I kind of want to hope she can see me and be proud of me.
If she was here, I mean, what do you
188? Whoa, it was $188 million.
think she would say?
Riri finally made it. That's what she always like to call me, Ree. So she'll be happy for us. 11, 13, 25.
Numbers that will change 26-year-old Marie Holmes' life forever.
So without further ado, I would like to present the winner of the largest lottery jackpot.
Whoa, I got to stop this for a second. Woo said, did she give him money so he can flip it? Yeah, he sure did. He flipped it on a prison contract. Oh man.
In North Carolina history, Marie Holmes. Let's see if you can. This is Marie Holmes, and we're thrilled to say that she won 1/3 of a $564 million jackpot, $188 million. And I now want to present Marie with a ceremonial big check.
It's everything. Like anything my kids ask for, I can actually get it for them, and I don't have to tell them no.
Are you gonna tell them no, though?
Yes.
Do you have a child with cerebral palsy? It's probably hasn't been tough on you financially.
Not really. He has Medicaid, so that pays for it, most of it. So he gets all the care he needs.
Marie, from some things I've read, I understand that there were many of you living in a single wide trailer, and that perhaps you've had a difficult upbringing. And I've heard many people say they're so happy for you because you're kind of like the perfect winner, if there is such a thing.
With the living situation, yeah, it was 7 of us living in one home, and it wasn't comfortable, but we made do.
And your hopes now, as far as the living situation?
Everybody that was in that household is going to have their own place, because I don't plan on staying together.
Monica says, as angry, bitter Black women would have still had our money. Rejection is projection. That's
no,
bars right there.
rejection is protection.
That's bars right there. That's bars.
May we ask a bit, what did you do or do you do professionally, and will that continue?
Yeah, it definitely will. I'm a full-time mother to my kids, so that was my job.
Earlier, you might say you were thinking about going back to school. Do you have?
Wu says, I bet that Naker was a love bombing the hell out of her when he found out. Oh yeah, I bet he did. This is a tragic story here.
Aspirations for work?
Yeah, I plan on continuing my education. It's going to be like in the nursing field. So.
Do you plan on staying in North Carolina? Will you buy a home, or do you kind of just plan on opening it up to all?
Monica.
Yeah, all 50 states. Like we're gonna pinpoint that down soon.
You might move. Is that what I heard you say?
I'm definitely moving.
Are you a single mom?
Yes.
Are you able to share any pictures of your children? Are you with your children?
I'd rather keep them out of the public eye.
Do you plan on?
Jen J says, I got 5 on it that her and her kids on food stamps and Medicaid right now. Legacy money gone too. Yep. Gone too soon. That's for sure.
Buy more lottery tickets? Now you have the winning sum.
I haven't really given that any thought. Like I don't, probably maybe. I mean, it's not going to change the person that I am, but it's just going to change our situation, like financially. Like we're going to be able to have our own everything. Don't have to worry about staying here or there. So it's just going to be very fortunate for them, and I can actually get them in programs that they need to be in.
Wow, goodness gracious. I mean, you officially wake up this morning as a millionaire. You have the money in hand, in the bank. Is it finally sinking in now what's happened to you?
No, not at all. No, I still don't believe it. I don't know when I'm going to actually believe it.
How often did you play the lottery?
Not often. Probably months at a time. Like I don't play it often, like when I have spare change and stuff.
So you gave your mother, what, $15 on her way to church to kind of pick up some tickets?
Yeah, that's what happened.
I guess it's hard for people to believe. I mean, I got to tell you, here, whenever the lottery gets that big and we joke around saying, oh, if I won that much money, you wouldn't see me the next day and all this, that. It is a reality for you, Marie. So what is it that you want to do?
I want to get my mom a house and fix my grandma's house up and put money aside for the kids for college and stuff.
What's the first big ticket item you want to buy?
I don't know, like a home and a car. Like, we're going to have our own everything.
John, agents smelled marijuana when they got to the house that
Can you
Marie
pause it?
Holmes shares.
I wanted to just welcome people to the panel. The Siobhan, Deontay, and Bad Blood, and I can't read the last part of your name.
Is Bad Blood in the common ground?
Hi, welcome.
Hello.
Okay, DJ.
With Lamar McDowell. He's facing heroin trafficking charges, and he's also a validated gang member. According to officials, they arrested him for missing curfew and violating his pretrial release. Then, because of that marijuana smell, they came back with search warrants. They found marijuana paraphernalia, and they also apparently found a pistol. That's when they cited lottery winner Marie Holmes for drug possession. Today, we also learned the reason why McDowell was out of jail. In court, it came out that Holmes paid his $3 million bond. It was posted just one day after she turned in her winning lottery ticket and collected the lump sum prize.
This is just horrible. I'd like to kick out some shout outs. BXX in the house. As said before, Bad Bloods is in the house. Thank you for coming. Monica's in the house. A Lady's in the house. Tiff is in the house. Woo Said It is in the house. Gen Z is in the house. Let me keep it rolling.
A total of $88 million after taxes.
Your boyfriend was a drug dealer. You hit the Powerball. You bailed him out. Not once, but twice.
No, actually 3.
All them houses in the trust, I want you to put them on a brick. All the people that you pay an allowance to, put it on the brick. Mm-hmm. And then the business, right? You bought Lamar business. Mm-hmm. And the taxes for the business. And the salary for the staff. Each one of them get a brick. Mm-hmm. There you go. You do know this is a plantation, right? I believe that every location has an energy. On a plantation, there was an energy that she was dealing with, sitting in, living through, in addition to what was going on in her own personal life. I see the result of someone who has no concept of what it means to be an adult. It is my intention to show Marie that hers is not a problem of wealth. It is a problem of maturity, of self-respect, and it is a healing process. It is a ministry. It is an opportunity to transform and evolve human consciousness. And keeping the guests safe is a part of that. A team member or someone on staff to support the guests. To keep
This is just so I can't. This is killing me.
Okay, so let's start talking about it. So this she's 26. She already had 4 children, and she had this guy we see here on the screen leeching onto her and her 4 children. I'm not 100% sure of how many of those children were actually his children, but she spent a total of $21 million to bail him out every time he went to prison. Jail, excuse me. Every time he went to jail.
It's disgusting.
That's a quarter of her money.
Yeah.
Right.
That's crazy.
But this is what these men want women to do, is ride or die with whoever they decide to pick up. Because, again, let's be clear. The majority of Black men personify the Pookie and Ray Ray mindset. Because it's not just about a socioeconomic status. It's not just about a prison or a criminal record. It's about a mindset. It's about how they speak to women, how they speak about women, how they present in society and what they're doing in society. So a lot of them, suffice it to say, are Pookies and Ray Rays, whether they want to acknowledge it or not.
The numbers just bear that out. If there weren't that many Pookies and Ray Rays, the community wouldn't be what it is today.
Exactly. Yeah. That's really the thing. It's like it's the strength in numbers dynamic. So when they try to separate themselves from it, it's like, no, you're still adjacent to it in some type of way, shape, or form.
But they love to defer all of the accountability and responsibility onto this imaginary persona that they've developed in order to not hold themselves accountable, but they want to hold Black women accountable. And I'm still waiting to hear someone tell me what that looks like. Now, for me, what that looks like in this case is to let go of dead weight. You can't take everybody along with you on the journey, no matter who they are, even if they're your child's father, children's father, or whatever. Even if they're your brother, even if they're your father, you can't take everyone along with you on the journey, as we will continue to see what this does to this woman who won all of this money.
The sad part is this: is she's so, you could tell that she's submissive and feminine and everything a dude wants. And this is what happens. I mean, talk about a scenario that red pill men try to reinforce that goes completely wrong. Like to kick out some shout outs. Healthy Black Pill in the house. Woo's in the house. Monica's in the house. I think somebody else got in the house. King Lucifer is in the house. BXX, Jin J, all in the house. Let's keep it rolling.
Them moving, to keep them engaged in the process when the camera is rolling and when it's not rolling. And Marie is a prime example that if you don't know who you are, if you don't have a strong sense of identity and well-being, all the money in the world is not going to fix it.
I still don't know how I'm gonna feel when he leaves.
Who's the other man that left you to go to jail?
My father.
Yeah. And how did you feel then?
I kind of felt that I lost my best friend.
Andre's in the house.
Yeah. And until you can be a witness to your own pain and speak it, you can't heal it. Marie is still that little girl who doesn't understand why her dad abandoned her for a life of drugs and prison time and time again. It is no surprise that she has chosen a man who will ultimately repeat that pattern and disappoint her in the same way. It is a pattern that will keep repeating until both Marie and Lamar stand up and own their truth. It's okay. Come on. I got you. Go ahead. Just tell her.
It's not gonna be easy for me because you're gonna be going away just like my dad did.
Yeah.
And it really breaks my heart that you're going.
Let me pause it. Can you pause it? So there's several things. One thing that I wanted us to focus on is the fact that Ayanna brought out that her father left her to go to prison. And we say left her. He didn't have a choice. It wasn't he left her. He ended up in prison because he wanted to be there, because he was doing illegal things. But her attaching herself to this guy, again, is this thing of we don't talk about the effects of fatherlessness on women. We never talk about that because Black women are expected to deal with it, move on, and succeed regardless. No one ever talks about how fatherlessness affects Black women. So this 26-year-old hooked up with someone who was essentially just like her father, and in bailing him out, she was trying to bail her father out too.
Yeah, it goes along with them telling you to choose better. It's like, well, how do you choose better when you, as a Black woman, don't have a bar just like they don't, in regards to their comeuppance, excuse me, into manhood,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Basically, the funny thing is this: is that it's not like black men. The black men that are saying choose better are any better themselves.
That part.
That's the
And
sad part.
right. And we have people like Hustler saying some women are attracted to Pookie and Ray Ray mindset, not so much the gentleman mindset. Can you please name 10 gentlemen that we could just think about, even in entertainment? I don't like to defer to them because they're a whole different breed. But I would like for them to name 10 entertainers that is well known in the Black demographic that are gentlemen. I'll wait for that.
And I'd like to know as well if he can answer what were her other options, seeing as though she was living in a certain type of community around a certain type of people that were there. So I want to know, give me the GPS coordinates to where she could have went and found a different type of man.
That part. Let me read Monica's comment. There is never any empathy or contextualization for Black women. This woman has a story. It doesn't start and end with choose better. Thank you.
Exactly. Yes, thank you.
I don't want you to go, but
bars.
I know it's just something that you have to do. Because I was kind of depending on you to be here with me.
Actually, I have to stop for a second and reiterate that this is a perfect example of what happened in the Black community and what's happening in the Black community. A man given the opportunity to change and improve the community, a man who's given an opportunity to be good and lead, and he chose otherwise. He chose the opposite. So how many of these men are out there? At least I'm scared to answer that one.
Right. And Tiff said, would he have stayed with her if he had won the money? And we all know the answer to that.
We all know, yeah. We don't even have to. That
Right.
ain't even a question.
Well, a perfect example is Wide Neck. Remember when Wide Neck started getting money? He left his baby, had 4 kids. He left her.
Yeah, with a wide neck too, right? With a wide neck and way less money, not even a drop in the bucket of what she had, and he was already out the back door.
Yep.
Well, that's what I wanted to add to this just really quick is one thing I realized growing up with men like this is that these men are basically like leeches. So when a man is fed up or tired or stressed out by a woman that he's not getting anything from, except for he generally just wants to be with her, he'll leave her. But if he's living with her, getting money from her, if he has to rely on her in any way, he'll deal with whatever's going on. That's and that's why, if this guy would have hit the lottery, he'd have been left her. That's why he stayed with her, obviously, when she hit the lotto, and he knew that he had some kind of hold on her, whether she had the money or not. She was spending ridiculous money on this man. He wasn't going to change. He's one of these guys. He doesn't care about making the community better, none of that. He just wants to play. He's immature. He's a joke. And we can argue back and forth. She should have chose better. But at some point, I've chosen the wrong women before in my life. And after I realized it, I left them. That was it. Now, I didn't leave them baby mommed up or nothing like that, but they were just the wrong ones. The fact that she stuck with this guy this whole time, all this trauma that he's been caught, because even before she hit the lottery, he was stressing her out. The whole situation is just terrible.
So you think it would have been just so easy for her to walk away from him?
No, it's never easy to walk away. But I'm saying that, no. If it was easy to walk away, we wouldn't have these issues. Okay. But I'm saying that the problem is that it's just like anybody. I don't care if you're alcoholic, if you overeat, whatever your issue is, you in love with the wrong person, toxic person, it's hard to get out of it. But we all know where it leads to if you don't. it's I don't think that this is more of a well, I mean, it is a man versus woman issue, but it's still like you have to individually. That's what Iana was trying to say earlier. Like you have to individually know who you are. Know yourself, know your own worth. Look at this. She hit $88 million cash money after taxes and everything, and she decided to pour a fourth of all of that into this man, and he just keeps dragging her down. I don't know where she's at now. I mean, but that's crazy.
Wait. We'll get there. Go ahead, push play, DJ.
Alone, yes, and dealing with it on my own, but I have to do it anyway. Yeah, because he's not gonna be here with me and the kids. Yeah, he's not gonna be here to watch them grow. I don't want it for him, but it's gonna have to eventually happen. Yeah, I don't want to do it without you, but I will do it. Yeah.
That's one funny thing that wasn't that the numbers that Kevin Samuels didn't kick out was all those women who stuck with men for ages, for 10 years, unmarried and shit. You don't see those in that 80% divorce rate or nothing.
And you don't hear the leeches in those chats. You don't hear the manosphere and the red pill talking about how they did those to women, how they were chronic time wasters. You never hear them speak on those things because then they would have to hold themselves accountable. And that's not something that they are willing to do over there. They want to all pretend like they're Mr. Good men and yet supporting people who are the demise, who will decimate.
Right.
So,
we have tape and proof on the leaders of the manosphere themselves being pure garbage themselves.
Exactly.
To say, I am degrading you. I am diminishing you. I am humiliating you.
I never meant to do it to you. I am really sorry. Your brother that we lost, his birthday, he was the third child. He would have been 25 that year. And those were the numbers.
So you picked the numbers?
Mm-hmm. I just wanted you to better yourself for the babies. You forgive me for not telling you?
I'd rather you would have told me. Because
what are you talking about? I missed something.
It sounds like she got the numbers from her mom, but didn't know what the numbers represented. And something that has to do with her brother.
Oh, wow.
So we're looking at a woman who's experienced a lifelong at 26 years old, has experienced lifelong trauma inflicted upon her by everyone, almost everyone around her. The only person that I think that she had to turn to was her grandmother, who, if I'm not mistaken, had passed away.
Dang.
Let's play the next one.
Carolina's $188 million Powerball lottery winner Marie Holmes. She's being sued by her local pastor. Now, Holmes, she garnered international headlines for bailing out her boyfriend, alleged heroin trafficker Lamar McDowell, to the tune of $21 million, bailing him out of jail. Of course, she stands to lose that money if he jumps bail. In this case, though, separate instance, Pastor Kevin Matthews, that's her pastor, says he's experiencing emotional and mental distress due to Holmes backing out of
That's not a pastor.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, man, this dude ain't nothing but a leech and a parasite. But then again, most preachers are anyway. So that's just my personal.
And another layer of this gigantic onion, comes out, where all these leeches come in from different locations. And she is just not, you can tell I think she has a wonderful heart, to be honest with you. I really
She
do.
wasn't equipped for this
Right.
fight.
She wasn't. Exactly. Exactly.
Uh-huh. That's messed up, man. I mean, but that's the
And
thing about the lottery,
Wait,
though. I mean,
let's
my bad.
let's play it some more, and then we'll
Yeah.
talk about it.
And she's one of many wonderful Black women like this that just get chewed up.
Verbal contract, a verbal agreement that she made regarding a $1.5 million land purchase for the church to build a retreat facility. Joe, can you believe this guy? His name is Kevin Matthews. And this is what he had to say. If we could go full screen on his little statement there. Because of the emotional distress and mental stress they put me through, I had to start taking more medicine for anxiety and depression due to the situation. Joe, he wants 10 million.
Sounds like a great role model. Let's go fill in on the anxiety medication. Let's go fill in on the she said, he said, she said she'd give me $1.5 million. She didn't. Now I'm suing for 10 million. Great role model for a pastor. But this woman, I mean, it just goes to show that when they give the stats about lottery winners going bankrupt, going to jail, you can sort of see how it happens, because a lot of people who play the lottery tend to be the kinds of people that don't generally put a lot of time into financial planning. Perhaps they're also surrounded by people of the community that aren't the most genuine. We're talking about her boyfriend being a heroin trafficker. And as you mentioned, if he does now jump after she bails him out, she will lose that money. So you can kind of see with an event like this why some of these lottery winners do end up going south.
That's absolutely right. And in this specific case, Holmes, the minister who's suing her for 10 million for emotional distress, although she just promised him, according to him, 1.5 million. I'm not really sure how he arrived at 10 million. Apparently he's having to take a lot of medicine because of the stress of this. But he said that he met Holmes and ministered to her on several occasions inside of her home, praying over her family members, that he originally asked her to consider giving him 3 different amounts. First, he needed $1 million, then $1.5 million, then $2 million. And he says she agreed to give him 1.5 to help him purchase land to build a retreat center that he'd been praying about for years. You know what? It sounds like to me, this parasitic pastor, I hope he loses all his parishioners, first of all, because they depend on donations to survive. But secondly, is he kidding? Are you joking? It's like, you read this stuff, you're like, you're supposed to be there to help and to give guidance. And
yeah, definitely not a strong moral candidate. It does ring to me.
Can I point something out?
Wait, before you do, Siobhan. This is not a black pastor. I just want to make that clear. Go ahead.
Oh, well, yeah, he doesn't have to be black. I wanted to point out that, everyone is saying, and I understand that she should have left him. She should have reinvented herself, blah, 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 blah.
With what tools? With what tools?
That's what I'm saying. We have to point out that this mindset, especially what goes on in our community about get money. All you got to do is get money. I mean, we can do a dance off of it. And then we get to it and we get to these type of storylines. And I just want to point out that whether she left that man or not, she had to leave the mindset of having that type of man, not the man himself, because this guy that we're talking about now, this pastor, this is actually her meeting this guy all over again, if that makes sense.
Yes.
She's going to continue to meet this type of person, black, white, or indifferent. That's why that's what makes this all the more juicy, is that this is a non-black man. This further shows this is a pathology. This is a mindset. You have to get away from this type of mindset and attracting people with this type of mindset. Otherwise, this kind of stuff happens.
And that's why it's extremely important. It's imperative that we as Black women give as much information to people who want to listen, because you do have people who don't want to listen and that will do this regardless. But that's why it's imperative for us to be the voice of reason, because you hear the loudest voices that you hear in the Black demographic are males telling you how unworthy you are. And then they also like to quote the stats for fatherless homes. And so you don't have another male figure that's telling you that you're worth it. I had an instance. I had an appointment, and this guy was with his daughter. A Black man was with his daughter, and she was dressed down, whatever. She was just dressed down. I'll put it that way. And he was saying she knew she had to come with me to this appointment. I don't know why she's looking like that, blase, blase, blase. So I looked at him, I said, I looked at her, I said, do you make good grades? She said, yes, ma'am. I said, I asked him, I said, does she bring a lot of boys around? Is she into boys? No. So I said, is that what people your age, kids your age around the neighborhood wear? And she said, yes. I said, sir, you're worried about the wrong thing. So do you not know that her self-esteem comes from you? Said the first voice, I said, unless you want her to be under a whole bunch of boys who are telling her something different, it's best you change your attitude towards her. She needs to know from you that she's the most beautiful thing on the planet. Because if you don't, you're setting her up for failure. Yep. So this idea that men need to be, just because you have a father in your life that you're going to do better. If you have a father that's not about anything in your life, you're still headed for failure. Because these men don't know what fatherhood is. They don't know what all they need to be pouring into their child, because unfortunately, most of them didn't have it poured into them. And you can't give what you don't have. So back to this young woman, she can't give what she didn't have and what wasn't poured into her.
Right.
About the bells over the fact that you're not allowed to collect your winnings anonymously when it comes to something like the lottery, because it's a public fund, it's effectively public money, and they want to be able to show that someone won it, someone collected the money, and they need to show the public this. And so
let's go to the next video.
It actually,
while he's pulling up the next video, the thing about this again, like Siobhan said, she summed it up perfectly with the mindset and the reason why she was able to be victimized by this pastor. But I wanted to also make it clear that she also gave that man $77,000. So he's suing her for $10 million, but he got almost what she had promised she would give him in the first place.
Yeah, man. Some people are just messed up like that. I mean, it was her money. I mean,
exactly.
He should have been happy that she wanted to give him anything in the first place.
Right.
I mean, it was her money. She had every right to do with what was hers rightfully. I don't know. I mean, some people, money just brings out things that in people that have been beneath the surface.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's like an old saying about that.
Yeah, money doesn't create the person. Right.
No, money doesn't change you. It just reveals who you really are.
Yeah, it reveals who you are. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And I just can't agree with you, Jen J. And I don't know exactly where you're coming from with that. I think we just have a different way of looking at things, because just because she wasn't capable of handling the money that she got doesn't mean that she deserves what she got from these people. Go ahead, DJ.
Well, Gemini, we can segue that point into like the whole community argument and stuff, because a lot of people have this thing in their minds that, oh, okay, well, we just got to do this for the community and do that for the community. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, like you got to, start with individuals, their mind state and how they think first. I mean, if you're doing things for people who are not mentally equipped to, appreciate what you're doing for them, then you're just going to labor in vain. You're going to end up like Dr. King or Malcolm X,
But that again, that's something that takes you. It's not something that most people arrive to on their own. It takes being around people with that mindset and understanding. And again, it goes back to what Siobhan said about who she had to choose from. If you're not surrounded by that, if you've never been exposed to that, then you don't know. You don't have that. And it's not your fault that you don't have that. You just don't have it. And so you're victimized as a result. Her mindset was developed in an impoverished environment.
Right.
And so she's not
Right.
deserving of something because this is her mindset. She's not deserving of anything that anybody does to her. And I think when you have better and you know better and you do better, to look on somebody and say that, I mean, it's dismissive. And I just don't, I can't wrap my mind around someone who wouldn't have empathy for people in this position. I just can't.
I mean,
Well, yeah, because go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I can empathize with it very much. I mean, this was a young lady who's. I
No,
mean,
I wasn't
it
talking
seems
about you.
like. Oh,
I wasn't
okay,
talking about you,
right.
JP. Go ahead.
Oh no,
Siobhan.
no. I'm not. Oh, my bad.
Go ahead, Siobhan. What were you going to say?
Yeah, no, JP, she wasn't talking about you. It's just the whole thing is she didn't realize that all it would have taken was for her to change her routine, because that's how you create new habits. You have to create a new routine. But when you're stuck in the position mentally, once again, it doesn't even matter about the money that she has. She doesn't even know the type of access. I think Black people, for the most part, we think that the money somehow activates things that aren't true.
Yes.
It's not to activate a certain mindset in you. This
Yes.
woman didn't know that when she got this mansion, she needed to hire a whole team of people for the landscaping, the pool, and all of that. She's never lived like that. I'm pretty sure she was renting, and had been accustomed to that. It's a whole different thing from running a 2-bedroom apartment to all of a sudden running a palatial estate, and then everything that comes with that. She didn't know she needed a bit, some type of manager, an executive, an accountant, all type of people that she would have had to have known people. See, what Black people don't realize is that the reason why these other people can capitalize off of having money and getting wealth like this is because they're surrounded around family and lineage. We're able to network and know somebody. If you don't know a doctor, a lawyer, if you don't know anyone within your community where you can win this money and reach out to a cousin, a father, and have somebody right there that you could actually pick their brain, you're lost. Then you end up just like this woman, going out attempting to find ways, and then you get scammed a lot. So I don't want to sit here. I would never say that this woman was stupid or dumb. I already know for a fact that she doesn't have the tools or the wherewithal to know how to play this game. This is a whole nother level with 188 million.
Exactly. Yes. Thank
I mean,
you.
basically, this is a young lady whose ignorance was weaponized against her. I mean,
Exactly. In a nutshell, JP, in a nutshell, once you are green and you walk up into these offices, I'll start billing you all type of outrageous numbers. You don't know any better because you don't even know the business of being scammed professionally.
True.
Let's put it this way. I've seen men who have the same problem as she does. Just some people, some people, they just don't know how to protect themselves. They just don't. I mean, that's the sad part, is you can tell she's a sweet young lady. The problem is that she just doesn't, she has no protection savvy whatsoever. She got the worst guy in the neighborhood. You see what I'm saying? She got the worst guy in the neighborhood because that's all she felt that she could get. She's just, everybody has been scamming her since she was born. And there's just some people like this, male and female. And that's the sad part, is that instead of the community protecting her, they devoured her. That's what I see.
Right.
But DJ, think about it this way. I mean, the red pill is the perfect example of this type of, phenomenon. A lot of guys get sucked into it, no pun intended, trying to, look for answers, look for honest solutions to the issues they have. And then, you get these shysters and scumbags, and they present themselves very well, and they make all these claims about having these solutions and stuff. And then what do? They scam, these guys that rip them off, they feed them a bunch of poison and stuff. And so, a guy that's ignorant, that wants to know, like, the real deal, gets caught up in that. And then, this red pillar, this manosphere dating coach, whatever, gets in his ear and feeds him a bunch of poison. I mean, how can somebody ignorant know the difference between, helpful and unhelpful information?
Right.
And that's how, these type of things happen. I mean, it's
Right.
sad to say, but, you just got sharks and predators out there
A lot
that
of
just,
them. A lot of them.
right.
Jenny Michelle says these people in her life lacked integrity and she didn't. Those people intentionally used her. She definitely didn't deserve it, but maybe it had to happen so she can grow from it.
Bars.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so we can actually, furthermore, so we could grow from it. That's why we're talking about it now. Somebody is going to, people are going to get something from this, no matter what side that you're on. So these are just cautionary tales for all of us, really.
And
Well,
this is
my
the
bad.
reason,
Go ahead.
This is the reason why we need to be intentional. We need to be precise, intentional, and supportive, as much as we can be on the platform. There's enough evilness. There's enough shite
Wait.
going
Somebody
on.
needs to mute.
Yeah, it looks like your mic, Gemini, your mic is going. Okay. I think it's fixed now.
Yeah. That's the reason why it's imperative that we are precise and intentional about our messages, because there's enough going on that most of these people are getting opposing views, and they're really they're really seeking something. They're really seeking to belong to something. And so we are responsible for what we put out here. And a lot of individuals and forums don't even care. They're out there to get super chats. They're out there to get cash apps, and they don't care about the message that they're putting out. And you can tell by the way that they will change with the wind. They change as the algorithm changes. But people whose message never changes, those are the people that you should look to in a positive way. People who provide positive messages and their message never changes. People who aren't speaking death to other people. People who aren't spewing out things that aren't true, or people who are generalizing and seeking to tear you down as an individual as opposed to build you up. You don't even need that in your life, because I'm sure reality is doing a good enough number on a lot of us.
A woman hit the jackpot big time, winning $188 million from the Powerball. But now her ex-fiance is coming to collect. Fox 46's chief legal correspondent, Seema Iyer, joins us to discuss. So, Seema, the ex is trying to sue her. He's not the one who won the lottery. Do we think this is actually going to hold up in court?
I hope not, Paige. Let's start off with what this is about. And I'm stealing a line, one of the best lines I've ever read, from Lotto Ladies. Just file a motion to dismiss. It's here in my hands. This case is the embodiment of what's yours is mine, and what's mine is my own. Now you get it, right? So here is the deal. They were together when the lawsuit was, they were together when she won the lottery. And then he went to jail after his ex, Marie Holmes, bought all these houses and cars and other personal items like clothing and jewelry that he claims belongs to him. The problem is that McDowell is not the owner of one of these things. Nothing is in his name. And here's a picture of her winning the lottery.
At least she did that right. At least she did that right. Right.
That is Ms. Holmes. Other problem, statute of limitations has expired. And finally, in my hands, I have the inventory of items he claims are his. And there's no specificity, no specific amounts, no specific descriptions. It's just these random words and him claiming to own them. Paige?
So, okay, it's not like they were without their problems.
Thank
right?
God. I'm glad to hear that the news is on her side.
We had video there. They were on the Jan Levan Zant show, right? The Fix My
So
Life.
he don't even know how much the items are. It's gonna get thrown out. Nobody's
Right. That I just wanted you to play that portion of it, because it just to wrap up her story, to see how treacherous people are. as it pertains to money. Now, she spent $21 million of her earnings to bail him out. She also allowed him to live with her and off of her. So he again, it's this leech mentality that he probably got in prison and had some prison lawyer, or somebody said, I'm sure Fat Dennis Sperling is his lawyer.
Right.
It's some prison lawyer.
And then what state are they in?
I think when I looked it up, she's a resident of Washington State now, but I want to say that was South Carolina or something like that. But
Yeah, I want to agree with that too.
Yeah, but when I looked it up, I think she's moved away and now she's in Washington State. Why she chose Washington State, I don't know. Me myself, I would have chose Hawaii. If I had to live in the United States, it would have been Hawaii or somewhere where I wasn't like off the corners.
Right, yeah.
Well, wait a minute, Jim, wait a minute now. You know, she might have moved to Washington State. You know, Cynthia G can pull a coat on some things up there. You know, more
no,
direct
that's
access.
That's not what I'm talking
Oh,
about.
okay.
Yeah.
My bad. Okay.
All right, DJ, what's next? What's the next video?
Okay. So I guess just to make me feel better. So she still has a little money left, right?
I'm not sure. She's in, I think what I read was there are lawsuits against her, and she has lawsuits trying to recoup some of her money. So it's likely she doesn't have anything.
Yeah, it's going to take her a while for all of this stuff to go into rotation. Wow. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like she did the smart thing of buying property. So that's
Right.
hard to take away. So even if she bought property for like her family members, depending on what they cost, at least that's a little bit on the money. I'm not saying she has like 100 million left, but maybe she'll have, I don't know, maybe 10 million left.
I don't know that she has
still
that.
enough. I hope she has that much.
I don't know that she has that. It's incredibly sad because she was supposed to, and this is another thing, and it goes into being equipped and having the tools. Her children are the ones that are continuously suffering over this.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
But you know, that's what happens to a lot of lottery winners. I mean, a lot of them end up going broke. I mean, that's not to put light on this type of situation, but I mean, like we used to have a running joke when I was younger and stuff. It's like when we if we win the lottery, you're gonna have all kinds of people you ain't never heard of claiming to be your cousins.
That's not a
and all
joke.
this shit.
That's for real.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the truth. Yeah.
And all that
And
stuff.
it's
I
only
mean,
because they don't have any. They're not coming from generational wealth.
Mm-hmm.
When you're born
Right.
into this, and like I said, if you could pick up the phone, see, I've had these debates, and this is how I know how lost, especially a lot of black men, because I've debated a lot of black men behind the scenes. And when you ask the black man, would you rather, if we went to jail, would you rather bail out right now, or bail out right now, or make a phone call?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they'll say, oh, they'll bail out. But it's like, no, for me, I'm going to call the senator, the governor, and walk out, and the charges will be dropped like this never happened. You're going to bail out, and you still have to come back and deal with the case. See, you're not even thinking. You're not even thinking how to get out of the problem. You just think you go straight to money.
And then, okay, and another thing for me is I've always said this. I've said this since I was like a kid. I saw a movie that made me think like, heck no. Because first of all, she knew he did what he did. So it's a waste of money. Like, why bail someone out when they know they did it? They probably will be convicted. And another thing is, if you did it and the likelihood of you being convicted is high, that time that you spend in jail is time served. What are you going to do on the outside? Like, what exactly were you going to do on the outside that you didn't already do? Because if you cared about being free, you would have stayed free. So
And can
why?
we talk about how he did that on purpose, though? That's my
Yes.
belief. My belief is he was getting in trouble on purpose. He did this to her because he did it the only way he knew how. And that's by committing crimes because he already wasn't valuing his life. Obviously, you could look at the brother on the Yala and tell that he was already gone. So all he did was just do the best thing he could outside of setting her up and doing something dark-sided directly behind her back. He just went ahead and kept getting in trouble and calling her and inundating her. So that way he wouldn't allow her to be able to get away from him. He had to be a part of her storyline. He had to be the leading character, despite the fact that she's a mother of 4 with a child with a disability.
And see that when you said that bail bond thing, I'm like, I don't even understand. Like, if the only way I'm bonding you out is if I have access to your money and I'm using your money to bond you out. But I'm not gonna bond you out on my dime. That's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna put anything up for you because you should have been smart enough to stay out. And if you weren't, that's on you. And you staying in is time served. So why are you trying to get out so bad? Because prison is far worse than jail. So you should spend that time in jail and go ahead and have that added to your time.
Yeah,
I don't know about that, Gemini.
Well,
I don't know about that.
I don't
Jam, I mean,
like I don't have no personal experience, but I would imagine.
Well, she didn't put any boundaries up though. She didn't put any bricks up. It's like, okay, she did it the first time. Now you just gonna what? Just keep on doing it over and over again. It's like, no boundaries. So
Right.
that already, when you don't have boundaries, you're gonna get done like this anyway.
Yeah.
So this is just about a mindset. This is about boundaries. It's so many lessons that come from this, but before we move on, I want to make the ultimate lesson in this is the result of when Black people think all they got to do is get money.
Right. And that to follow up with that is this perception that being given reparations in the form of monetary benefits, as if that's going to change anything. And somebody got viciously mad and cursed me out in the chat of another stream because I said that's not going to change anything for most people because they're not fiscally responsible.
They're just going to do a lot of illegal things with it and blow off the money and end up in trouble anyway. So no, those reparations are not about to sit there and save. Like, no, if the lottery ain't doing it, the reparations ain't. It's all money. It's not about to save money.
I agree with that. I think that if I was the white power structure, not to go off the topic, but I would give Black people reparations in cash right now because 90% of Black people would do exactly, and I don't want to just say her, most Black people who win the lottery would do things like this. They would spend it immediately. They would put it back into the economy. They would put it back into white businesses. They'd be broke as hell again. And then in the next 5 to 10 years, we'll still be jacked up as a community. But now we can't ask for reparations because they already gave it to us. Like, yeah, that would be terrible for us to get it in cash, especially all cash. But I just want to end with the girl Marie, the lady. So her moving to Washington, I think that was a smart idea. That's completely 3,000 miles away from where she was at. So that way she don't have to be surrounded by that, take her kids with her. Hopefully, after all this time has passed, after all the bullshit she's been drugged through, especially by a man that she thought was really in love with her and everything, she can get her finances together because if she has any money left over after all of this, she should get a financial advisor and figure out how she's going to make that work for her over the next 30 or 40 years. Because that's what people, one thing that we don't understand as Black people is that when you get a large lump sum of money like this, and you can even see it with NFL players, rappers, and NBA players, they don't know what to do with it. They think, I got $100 million in cash. I can't never spend all of this. Yeah, right. You can spend all of this. First of all, you buy too much stuff in cash instead of financing it. That's not smart. Like it's like you guys were saying, we're not financially educated enough to have that kind of cash. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well said. I can't agree with Deontay. You actually dropped some gems right there.
Oh no, I mean to piggyback off of what Deontay was saying, I mean, yeah, if they cut that check on Monday morning to Black people for reparations, 90% of that money will be back in their pockets Monday afternoon.
Yep.
that same day. So,
Yep.
90% of it with interest. So
I mean, and it's not even really a joke, because you think about it, money stays in the Black community. I think they said it stays in the Black community for something like 15 seconds or something. I read it somewhere. It's like when
it's
we,
only a matter of minutes. Yeah, whereas in other communities it could take weeks. For us, yeah, it's only a matter of minutes and hours. Yeah, that it circulates back out. But you know, money aside, actually we'll be at risk physically, because who's going to attack us but our own to take more money after they liquidate theirs?
That part. No, not
Right.
even after they liquidate. They want what you have, what they have,
On top of what they got, right?
Yep.
So the stick up kids is gonna come out, you know. So
Right.
that's the other side of it. Is the dark side in this that'll come with it. Even though you got your check, now you're ready to get mine.
Wait,
take
and
this time.
evidence of that is that measly what was it? The
The
stimulus.
stimulus.
Yep.
50% of that money would be gone because first off, Black people.
I'm not talking about spending it. I'm talking about people losing their lives over it.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
We talking about crimes related to it, not the money itself. We talking about getting robbed and jacked. I'm talking about my furniture getting delivered, and now the stick up kids, the home invaders coming in my home, taking my furniture that I just bought. Yeah, I'm talking about how
killing
the
their baby mothers because they knew they got a large sum of money.
Yep.
I mean, women are getting killed. Women were getting killed over tax returns. So we know if they're doing it over that measly money, they'll be out like freaking hyenas and packs of wolves looking for their victims. Not to mention, I'm not sure if it wouldn't be some white people hunting us down for.
We're all.
Oh, they'll be on us. Yeah.
Walking target. Yeah, absolutely. You a walking target at that point. Yeah. Yep.
Parents are in a desperate fight with the state of Tennessee over custody of their children.
5 children taken away while one of them were still breastfeeding. The father locked in a cage, having to make bond for a citable offense.
Emotions running high after more than a month of separation following a traffic stop. This nightmare for Deontay Williams and Bianca Claiborne began on February 17th when the family was pulled over while driving from Atlanta to Chicago for a funeral. An arrest warrant obtained by NBC News says Tennessee Highway Patrol stopped Williams for having dark tint and driving in the left lane while not actively passing. An officer smelled weed and after searching the car found a gun, officials say, and 2 small amounts of marijuana. The warrant also alleges both the driver and the female passenger admitted to smoking marijuana. Williams was arrested.
I mean, what do you...
for possession, while Claiborne was given a citation.
We did not arrest the mother in this particular case. That's where we left it. The children were left in custody. The mother had custody of the children.
But
see, it's funny because I hear that part.
Thoughts. Let's get some thoughts on this. Go ahead, BJ.
It's funny because when I hear that part about the mother not being arrested, I can just hear Red Pill going, "Yeah, see, the government's protecting Black women."
Right.
You know, and you know, it kind of makes sense, and I'll tell you why. Because deep down inside, the government knows that their biggest problem is with Black male criminals, not Black women. It's sorry, but all we need to do is just stop doing stupid shit, and then we don't have to worry about this. How do you carry a gun knowing you can't? Okay, let me repeat that. How do you carry a gun knowing you cannot?
Now, why was he smoking, knowing that he had the gun? He wasn't supposed to be carrying the weed. They wasn't supposed to be smoking with the children in the car who should have been there.
Then they crossing state lines, multiple states. Like that's ridiculous.
I mean,
they could have went around a corner. The man had a gun, smoking weed, knowing he wasn't supposed to have a gun. They shouldn't even been in the car doing that anyway. I wouldn't care if they was going around a corner to the liquor store to get another Swisher Sweet.
Wait, why did it sound like we had Siobhan on speed? You said that so fast. But fast.
But no, I mean, the thing is this, and who was trying to defend the man? Who was trying to defend them?
The
Black women.
Exactly.
Black women.
Black women who need to stay the hell off the pavement and quit being the front line, because this is the reason why they don't sympathize or empathize with us, because it's always us that's on the front line trying to defend some bull crap.
Yep.
Exact same black women that these guys shame every day of the week.
Every day.
Every day. Big Shirley, whatever you want to call it. Average at best, you want to call it. Wow.
Hours later, something changed.
She was sitting outside the criminal justice center waiting to get her partner out. And then DCS approached trying to take the children away.
All 5 children, ages 3 months to 7.
So in both of these cases, neither one of these women were married.
Right. But they were riding and dying.
So the lesson, one of the lessons is, why are black women still giving black men husband privileges? See, these men keep saying you women need to prove that they're wife material. Stop trying to prove your wife material. Stop trying to do that. It's not even worth it, because if a man is asking you to prove your wife material, he's not husband material anyway. If you hear any of these talking points from the manosphere, bounce, run the other direction. Because they don't have your best interests at heart anyway. It's about what they can get from you. And you see, again, who's suffering? The children.
Yeah, can we just debunk also the man supposedly being around? Because we're on the second situation where there's a man around, but there's no manning taking place.
Come on.
Right. Boom. Bars. Like to kick out a shout out to M. Mills in the house, Jen J in the house, Monica in the house, A Ladies in the house, Tiff is in the house, the Urbanista is in the house. Let me make sure I ain't missing anybody. I think I got everybody. Here we go.
7 years old were taken by Child Protective Services. State Senator London Lamar is among those demanding the children be returned.
I've never heard
That's a bad, actually, to me, it's a bad idea. Quite honestly.
Children being ripped away from their family for a misdemeanor charge on some simple drug possession when marijuana is legal in half the states in the country.
Their attorneys.
No, that doesn't bother me. It's the gun that bothers me. This guy could have a bad day, and guess what?
No, the drugs bother me too, but we're going to listen further and see what's said.
Telling NBC News the children were not returned to their parents after a hearing in juvenile court Monday and remain in foster care tonight, pending the results of a drug test.
It's certainly extreme, but the problem is that courts in family law have such vast discretion to decide what they want to do on a case-by-case situation.
The Department of Children's Services says caseworkers acted appropriately.
You know, we talk about transparency a lot, whether that be policy, procedure.
In the court's defense, look at all these stories of families getting deleted by angry men. So it's hard for me. It's hard. I'm sorry. I might sound like a Scrooge, but it's hard for me to I mean, just, you have to understand, a judge, that same judge that put this law out, that made this decision, maybe the last couple before or uncouple before, they had a passing in the family, right? That there was some kind of crazy, cabin fever thing that went down. You see what I'm saying? So to me, I'm focused more on the children right now, if you know what I mean. And I think I would have been maybe more on the side of give the kids back to the family. But after hearing stories over and over again of all these young women being deleted and their family members being deleted and children being deleted, I don't know no more. I honestly just don't know.
protocol. And in this case, we feel like those case managers did just that.
The department did not clarify the grounds for removal, but told NBC News in a statement, DCS and law enforcement follow protocol for collecting evidence. Those findings are then presented to the court. In this instance, the evidence resulted in the court placing children in DCS custody. Tonight, still more questions than answers, as Williams and Claiborne vow they won't stop fighting for their kids.
This has got to end.
And Priscilla Thompson joins us now from Atlanta. Priscilla, this seems like a very significant step for a misdemeanor. Is it common for child services to take children away from their family after a misdemeanor charge like this?
Well, Ellison, it's extremely rare, according to the expert that we spoke to. And one of the key questions here is what prompted the Department of Children's Services to step in hours after the Tennessee Highway Patrol had released these children back into the custody of their mother. And so tonight, there are still a lot of questions about this, as it has now been more than a month since those parents have been in, had those children in their custody. And experts also tell us that it can take weeks, if not months, to reverse a decision like this. Ellison?
Priscilla, have you heard anything else from officials about this case?
We have not received any updates from officials. What they have told us is that there is a gag order in place, and because there are juveniles involved in all of this, they are not allowed to speak about this. And we also know that the attorney for the family is now saying that she's limited on what she can say because of that gag order, as well as they wait to see whether or not those children will be returned in the coming days. The attorney says that she expects to have an update by the end of this week. Ellison?
So the information that we have to go on is 5 children, a felon, the mother, and they're all in this car traveling across state lines and under the influence. And so
don't leave out the gun.
I said weapon. Didn't I say weapon?
No.
Okay. And they're under the influence. So are the children also under the influence?
Good point.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Bob Mueller.
And I'm Haley Wilgus. DCS took away a couple's children after a traffic stop and a misdemeanor charge. And tonight, Tennessee's Democrats are pushing DCS to give the kids back.
DCS took the kids a month ago. Here's News 2's Adam Mincer.
And when I went to go reach him, the man grabbed me. He told me, don't touch him.
It was a promise to her kids she couldn't keep.
And I'm just telling him, like, it's okay. Nobody's going to separate us.
While driving from Georgia to Chicago, Bianca Claiborne and her partner, Deontay Williams, were stopped by state troopers. According to court documents, it was for having dark-tinted windows and also driving in the left lane without passing. After being pulled over, documents say the trooper smelled marijuana, and the parents admitted.
Now the initial is sketchy, but let's see what goes.
Smoking it. Troopers found 0.17 ounces of marijuana in the car. Later on, Claiborne's 5 kids were taken into DCS custody after a court ruling. The kids are young, ranging from 4 months old to 7 years old.
And my oldest child, he was just looking at me like confused. And I just gave him a hug and I told him it's not your fault.
Now, Democratic senators are calling for DCS to release the kids back to the parents.
It is absolutely ridiculous when marijuana is illegal in about half the states in the country that a Black family got 5 of their children taken away, put into DCS that's not doing a good job of taking care of the children they already have, and they won't give them their children back for a misdemeanor charge.
In a statement, the district attorney says there's more to the story than the mother and her attorneys have put out. Highway Patrol says there was a weapon in the vehicle in possession of a convicted felon, but we have yet to see any charges filed related to that claim.
We did not arrest the mother in this particular case, and with the intentions of leaving the children with her, and that's where we left it.
DCS says they can't comment on cases and adds DCS and law enforcement follow protocol for collecting evidence. Those findings are then presented to the court. In this instance, the evidence resulted in the court placing children in DCS custody. As lawyers and officials talk, Claiborne and Williams are in Georgia.
It's like death.
Awaiting court dates.
Having children that's out in the world and you can't physically see, touch, or anything like that. It's mind-boggling.
Claiborne's attorneys say DCS is now retaliating against them for releasing certain legal documents to the public, DCS did not respond to comment on that. We're also continuing to ask the department what evidence they collected that led to these children being put in state custody. Bob?
Yeah, actually, they didn't say a gun. They just said a weapon. So I don't know how to.
Children taken away.
Well, we get weapon and gun is used synonymously. In the military, we don't say gun, we say weapon. But
okay.
It's a gun.
Okay.
One thing I wanted to talk about as far as this is concerned is that she was breastfeeding that 4-month-old.
Oh, wow.
So you have a woman and man that they're not married with 5 children in the car driving across state lines. So you know they're going to have to stop frequently with 5 children. And you know that he's a felon. And so you put yourself in a position for this to happen to you?
Right. Yeah, I know. Yeah, they were all over the place.
And you want sympathy and empathy from the public when you weren't doing what you needed to do to make sure your family was safe in the first place.
Yeah, because it's not like this was random where we could really run with this. Like we have no ball to run with.
Right. I mean, had it not been for the marijuana and the weapon, then we wouldn't even, we could fight that. We could say, okay, they thought they smelled marijuana, because that is a common thing that they do so that they can get you out of the car and do the drug, do the dog and all of that kind of stuff. They do that. But they actually admitted to smoking marijuana. So there's no deniability there.
No.
Yeah, once again, no boundaries, no boundaries. No boundaries.
You want to know something? I thought the officers were quite kind to the woman.
Right.
And I think they protect. This sounds ugly. I know it's going to sound ugly, but I think they did in her best interest and the kids' best interest right now.
Well, yeah. I mean,
it's
because they had
kids.
they had no idea DCS was going to take her children away. That didn't have anything to do with them. DCS decided for whatever reason that they were going to to do this.
Okay, think about it like this. How many of you would want the mother carefully at least evaluated before releasing children to when there was a man, a felon with a gun in the car next to her? It makes more, believe it or not, I have no problem with this. Eventually she's probably going to get the kids back.
And it should be a lesson learned for her.
Yeah.
Right. Because think about it. Look, he's a felon, so he's already capable of doing something stupid. Let's put it that way, right? Who knows what he's a felon for? If it had anything to do with violence, then how are you going to let somebody who has a propensity for violence in a car with a weapon next to your kids? I don't see nothing. I can't protect you.
Well, yeah, but it's not even just that, because let's say he had no record. Y'all still smoking with 5 kids in the car. This is just step by step, just wrong. Then you're driving while breastfeeding, which we all know technically y'all should be pulling over because you shouldn't even be driving doing that, even with her in the passenger seat of the car. So it's just like,
wait, Siobhan, I didn't mean she was breastfeeding at the time. I mean that the 4-month-old was.
She still was breastfeeding just in general. Yeah.
Right,
okay.
right.
Yeah. But even then, she messing up her milk. Then she gonna have to pump it out.
Exactly.
But okay, that's another. Okay.
Exactly. You're smoking marijuana, but you're breastfeeding at the same time.
Yeah. So but see, it's just like, see, this is what happens, and it's like she got 5 kids. Where it's like, how many kids is it going to take for you to realize that your life is different now? You're a mom.
Right.
You have to separate. And what happens is, Black women will still try to have kids and still want to ride or die with these dudes. When at this point, y'all brought the kids in. See, if the thing about the ride or die stuff is, if you're going to live that lifestyle, don't have no children. Don't bring kids into it. And you could just be as toxic as you want to, although I wouldn't suggest that to anybody. I'm just saying, don't bring children into a situation where you're not willing to change and put guidelines and boundaries up with it. So I'm glad she wasn't breastfeeding at the time, but why are y'all driving with 5 kids just smoking, even if nobody had a record? That was
Right.
just them across the board. Y'all got the kids. At that point, we can't smoke nothing. We're gonna have to get home. We're gonna have to hit a stop. One person go to the car. However, y'all figure it out a whole nother way, which I wouldn't suggest. Just don't smoke. Just get to the house with the children. And don't do it with the kids.
I'm
Hi,
glad y'all.
Urbanista.
Hey panel. How's everybody doing tonight?
Hi, Urbanista.
Hey, Urbanista.
Yeah, I agree with what you just said, Siobhan. And here's the other thing that troubles me is why have all of these children? They have multiple children. So you had several, if you didn't want to change your lifestyle with kids, you didn't have to have several children, So yeah, I have a lot of empathy for this family, but at the same time, I don't, because y'all need to be adulting.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. Grow up.
And I think part of most of the problem in the Black demographic is the amount of sympathy and empathy that we give to people who are doing these types of things, which in turn makes a tragic situation that is with someone who's behaving responsibly diminishes society's empathy and sympathy for them. For instance, the Castile, I think his first name was Philip Castile case, where he was traveling with his family. He had a license for his weapon. He told the police officer he had the weapon and told him he had a license for it. And the officer asked him to get the license. And he said, well, it's right there with the weapon. Are you sure you want me to get it? And they told him to get it and still killed him in front of his children, in front of his family.
Wow.
So those are the instances. And Elijah McClain, who was walking home from the store and no criminal record, no anything like that, and was killed by police officers. Those are the people that we should be out and on the front lines for, not people who are have multiple criminal records, people who are sitting back and not obeying societal laws and just breaking them left and right. So we don't choose our battles wisely, and in turn that causes society not to have any empathy and sympathy for us.
Yeah, because I hate to say it, but this cause is ridiculous to be having people on the pavement when we have way bigger fish to fry than to be campaigning for this kind of situation. It's like, it's not as intense and extreme as it once was maybe 50, 60 years ago in terms of how we can move around socially within, as Black people. But it's just the thing of, you already know the law, you already know the rules, So it's like not only did they not have a moral compass as parents, but on top of that, y'all ignoring the law.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, this is a double whammy.
Exactly. And I think that they want, and they continuously say, but the white people this, but the white people that, we don't get treated like the white people. Well, if you know that, why are you behaving like you do? Like, it's just as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Right.
Yeah, it just doesn't
So you
make
want
any
to be
sense.
equally as criminal? Like, you
Right.
want to, what sense does that make? That doesn't, you can't even, it's like, this is how their mind works. So in other words, you're telling us that you just want to be equal criminals. You want the same to be able to
that's
be
exactly what it is. It's like, is this a versus battle to catch up to white folks to where we can commit crimes on the same scale as them? It's like, wow, what is this really about? What does that really say about us as people? Like, wow.
And I discussed it the other day. We don't even have the same criminality because most of our stuff is emotional and impulsive. And the ones that act emotionally impulsive and impulsive of their society, guess what they say? Good riddance. That you don't see them in comment section saying, oh, well, have sympathy for them. No, they say good riddance. They deserve it.
And how far were they driving again?
Did they say Chicago? From Georgia to Chicago or something like that?
They did.
Ain't that a few hours?
Quite a few hours, I'm sure.
Yeah, they slow. They could have waited on all of that. I mean, I don't even know why we're campaigning for stuff like that. It looks embarrassing, and it looks shameful on the community. I mean, Wow, in 2023, like we're really gonna sit up here and act like this is some type of revolutionary cause. I can't believe people got on board with this. Like, it's unfortunate. The main unfortunate part about it is these children are separated, but at the same time, this is a cautionary tale because given the evidence that we see, maybe she does need her children removed from her.
Right, so
You
she
know,
can understand and know their worth.
yeah,
Know your
you know, she
children's
got to make a
worth.
choice. Yeah, she got to make a choice whether she's going to be a mom or whether she's going to run around full time with him. That's why I said these people that think like this Bonnie and Clyde, this whole thing that was adopted, you know, within the Black community, it's not built. It's not a lifestyle built for children. It isn't. If you want to be on that kind of level of ignorance, do not bring children into it at all. And after 5 kids, she's already probably been warned plenty of times. This is just, you know, yeah, because she got 5 kids. So it's like you don't get to 5 kids and do this, and this is some rookie situation. You should already be settled in motherhood at this point.
And she doesn't look like she's 30 yet. So you have 2 women that are under the age of 30 with 5 children going through hell with a man and not paying attention to their children. And see, when we talk about accountability, if we're going to talk about accountability, this is the type of accountability that we're addressing as it pertains to single mothers. But this isn't the large majority of single mothers.
No, it isn't. But you know, it goes both ways too, because why is he once again the man, the leader? It's like, so they're telling us that a man has to be around. Okay, despite the fact that these women are married, let's put that to the side. The man is there, he's the daddy, you know, there's no stepdaddy there, you know, so this guy is there, and then he's leading them to what? Leading them to jail, leading them to getting their children taken. So it's like that's another thing too, where we have to debunk that. All it takes is money. No. All it takes is the dad being there. No. All it takes is 2 parents being together. No, because these are 2 parents who are together who couldn't even make the right type of decision that was going to benefit them and their children.
Right.
So this goes back to mindset again. You know, what good is one mindset or the other? And really what's good with 2 mindsets coming together that ain't even worth one.
Right.
And then what are you teaching your children? Because your children are just going to repeat the same stuff.
Exactly. You have that, and that's what I was saying, even with the guy who had the 30-something children. Now you're going to set 30-something more people out there to marry 30-something more or get with 30-something more people and repeat the generational foolery. So you're setting society up for failure because you're putting failures out there.
Yeah, and then who has to take care of these children?
Society.
Right. Who's going to have to take these children in? Somebody in that family, you know, 9 times out of 10, but that's going to be a struggle taking in 5 children in any direction.
No, I think they'll be split up between family members.
And that's problematic even in of itself. That's 5 kids.
Yeah. But it's better than them turning out to be another story in the news about some ex-felon doing some stupid shit.
Let's go to the next subject, DJ. The last subject.
Gotcha. Shout out to Mr. DJ Music in the house, M. Mills, Jen J, Monica. Here we go. Is this the one?
Yes.
Father, how you can make your how do you think you can make your child an asset to the kind of man you want to marry?
How can I make my child an asset?
To the kind of man you would want to
Pause.
marry? I would have to. I feel
Pause.
like
DJ.
Her to be an asset.
DJ. Okay. Did you hear? Did everybody hear what he asked her?
Yeah.
He asked her, how can she make her child an asset to a man? This is manosphere. This is a manosphere leader. He wants to know how a woman can make her child an asset to a man. Let's see what else is going on with this.
You would want to marry?
I would have to. I feel like I would have to train her to be an asset, as in get her ready for life in general. Put her in classes, make sure she's smart, make sure she's not, put in that time to make her a better person.
Pause it again.
Right?
I'm sorry. At the moment he asked me that question, I would have just hung up. Because
Absolutely.
why are you sitting there trying to explain to a grown man how a child can be an asset to anybody? A child is a child. And what type of asset should I make my child to a man that's not her father? I'm confused. The thing is, how can that man be an asset to my child? That's the question.
I was just gonna say that. Like, how can a child even be that's not a child's place in the world, especially as an adolescent, to be an asset to the parents. And I feel like that's that mentality, because that kind of goes back to that old mentality of back in the day when people used to have children just to do work, right, agriculturally. And society has changed at this point, right? So how can a child, period, be an asset to a family? Like, the parents had those children, and their responsibility is to be an asset to their children. So that mentality just sounds crazy to me.
But you see how it went over her head. And this illustrates how, as Black women, and I was saying this when we were, on the panel the other day, in regards to how inappropriate things are said to us and how we're desensitized to it, because she had to hurry up and answer her Black king because he asked a question. And in order for her to remain, in audition mode, she has to answer whatever question, even if she doesn't even think about how she shouldn't even be responding to that. So it's like, it's an automatic trap of feeling like you have to submit in. And this is just the ideals that, that we're hypnotized within this community, because she couldn't even catch on to that. Like, immediately that should have been a red flag, but it went over her head. You didn't even see a reaction come off of her.
Okay, and then we have apparently a pamphlet holder with the glossary here to decipher the bullcrap for us. The child can't be an asset. That was the point.
What do you mean? The child can't be an asset? That's the point. He shouldn't even brought up her child in any type of way to be an asset. What are you talking about? I mean, you can't argue that talking point.
The foolery is there's no benefit to being a stepfather, which has absolutely nothing to do with the child. It still has to do with the child if you're talking about the child being an asset. Like,
right. Why would he even ask that question at all? And
Exactly.
There's no way you can defend that man asking how her child can be an asset to him, to another man in a relationship, and not think that that is the creepiest thing on the planet. How desensitized are you?
Because the thing about it is, what he could have asked her is, given that you have a child and you have to split your time, how is that an asset to me? Or how would that be an asset to a man? You never use the child. Why would the child be a part of the conversation when you're talking about assets? See,
right.
This is what I'm talking about. They think that he actually think, this idiot in the chat actually think that made sense. And he thought it was a good point. This is what you have. And this is why Black women need to watch out for ignorance such as this.
Yeah, y'all don't be dating these men with y'all children, Black women. Like, just man it down and figure something else out. So
and quite frankly, it makes me even question children that are born in a marriage as well too, because again, children should not be thought of as an asset.
Right.
So I don't understand how even a father who's in a marriage with his own children would look at his children as an asset. You should be pouring what you need to pour into your child to develop your child, but your child is not an asset.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
I can see. And go ahead. I'm sorry.
What I was going to say is, what I think a lot of men fail to realize is with children, period, is if you pour into children, period, as they get older, and you get older, what ends up happening is your children take care of you if you've done the right thing by your kids. So, for example, if you are the kind of man that as you get older and now your children have grown up, they've hopefully gotten what they need to have, and you now are older and you need someone to help you, if you had a good relationship with them, then yes, they will then be an asset to you because they had a relationship with you and they care about you and they want to make sure that you're okay, right?
Right,
But
yeah.
at the point of adolescence, a child is not an asset. And I just think that's a backwards mentality to have, period.
But this is the mentality of Black men. This is their mentality. And they actually think this makes sense because they can't see their own depravity.
Well, yeah, they don't understand reciprocity. See, it's a taker's mentality with them. It's not a give. They're not thinking about the return on the back end. They're only thinking about what they could get right then and there. And this is the exact mentality of women, even women back in the day who were married, who ended up becoming widowers. They ended up having their children audition. How sick do you think that really, looks like mentally for those children who had to grow up and audition for some other man to take the place because their father had passed away? The mother getting them all dressed up, be nice to Mr. Such and such, Uncle Such and Such, because she was trying to get wiped up again, like, wow. And then this is the mentality that's playing out in 2023. But yet you're supposed to be feeling bad that you're raising your children by yourself, where you ain't got to worry about these type of clowns with this type of mentality.
Right. And then you have the idiots that want to elicit this type of emotion in you when they aren't even the desired type of men that real women would want to be with. And that's why they're always here, is because they always dwell in the small swampy pool of bull crap.
Big Tiz, pull up. I have a couple questions to ask you.
Oh snap! Big Tiz is in the house, man. I mean, I thought he would have been with. I thought he would have been with Peso. Shout out to the Peso man. But I thought Big Tiz would have been over there chopping it up with him.
They always have their moments where they want to distract and detract from the subject at hand. And they need to be underneath women, especially Black women. Even though they don't want us, they're always underneath us for some reason. Yeah. They always want us to breastfeed them for some reason and then send them out and then they come back. They're always incessantly underneath the skirt of a Black woman, but they don't want Black women.
See,
and then calling children liabilities. They're liabilities and not assets. That makes absolutely no sense. And see, that's the kind of father that ends up like Shaq's dad, coming back later talking about how he won a check because he happened to just be the father, but never went and believed in him, never spent any time with him, never did nothing, but sat there on Sally Jesse Raphael talking about how you was owed $4 million just because you donated some sperm.
Just because wait, let's say it like this: just because the mother's body accidentally didn't reject that no good dusty sperm. Because let's keep it a buck. I love how Black men think that their seed. No, dude, the body's woman still has to accept it. And guess how many times she rejects a lot of sperm. So it's still up to the woman's body. It's up to the woman to create life.
That's true. That's very true. I mean, the egg itself can turn away sperm and stuff. I mean, there's been studies that have proven that the egg in a woman's body can, emit signals from its, cell, and it'll confuse a lot of sperm cells that are on the way to, fertilizing and stuff. So I forgot the exact term for it, but the egg can reject the sperm too. So
yeah, that's basic enough. They get it.
I mean, not even in humans too. I mean, animals even with male and female.
But okay, JP. We're talking about.
Oh, okay, my bad. Okay. I
love you.
Yes, JP.
Right. But I have to stop you because you'll give us a whole biology lesson. Look, to the micro level, and I love it. I love it. But we're not there. Like everybody.
Oh, okay. No. That's what I'm getting at. I'm back now. I'm sorry. No, I'm gonna let y'all rap.
Okay.
I'm gonna go back on mute.
Play some more, DJ.
Okay.
Am I right?
No. The question is how to make your child an asset to that man. That makes her an okay person. But how can you adopt? And this is a question all women are going to have to answer for themselves. How are my children benefiting you as my husband?
I never thought about that.
Well, and that's the problem.
Sorry, I had to calm down for a minute. Hi, Big Tiz.
Good afternoon. Good evening.
Tiz, what's going on, man?
What's up? What's up?
You grew up with a mother and father, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Let's say your mother got a divorce. Does she divorce? Would she deserve to be married again?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not her. I mean,
Is that no?
I don't know. I really wouldn't.
Obviously not if you can't answer the question.
Okay, then no.
So do you love your mom?
Of course.
Does she deserve happiness?
Yeah.
So if marriage made her happy, does marriage make her happy?
I assume so, yeah.
So you're saying that you don't think your mom should be happy if she got a divorce and wanted to marry somebody else?
I think that's what she wanted to do. Yes. If that makes her happy, marrying somebody else. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think it would be rude if the guy looked at you to see if you were an asset or not?
No, not at all.
So how would you be an asset to her husband?
I wouldn't be an asset.
Why not?
That's the thing. I wouldn't.
Why not?
I don't know. I wouldn't be an asset though.
So what is an asset?
Because
define asset.
So wait, no. That's it. Wait. Let's go with that. So what in the hell is Kevin asking then?
Y'all tell me. Y'all.
No. You're the one.
No.
You were the one deciphering
I'm not defining. I'm not defining anything for y'all. No.
Sir,
no.
You were the one in the chat deciphering the code. You can keep
No.
saying no, but I can read your comment. I can go back and read your comment.
Well, do what you have to do.
Yeah, I will. Sir, you're not running anything over here.
Do what you have to do.
Okay, how about I do this?
Right, what is he doing?
In the comment, the child can't be an asset. That was the point. She shouldn't have come up, laugh out loud. We don't date y'all anyway. Someone else's children are liabilities, not assets. So why is it that he can't define it when he's the one that was talking this crazy crap and trying to
Hey, Gemini, you know what I'd like for you to ask him?
Well, he's gone because he can't see. Wait a minute, Urbanisa. Wait a minute. He's gone because they will not hang around when they're not in charge and when a whole bunch of men aren't on their side clapping like retarded seals.
Yep. Yeah, and then they also run when you ask them to define the terms as follows. We just ask him, what do you mean? Because we already are interpreting it our way. That's why we're saying what we said for you to disagree. So we just want to be clear, since you were in the comment section, that what you were saying was as follows, so you could speak for yourself.
And see, this is them. Wait, this is them right here. Always underneath us, trying to figure out what's going on.
Oh my God, man. How do y'all find that stuff, man? Dang.
I would say it's going to be extremely difficult. But what I would suggest is women who actually think about it from the man's side, understanding that my child today is a liability because it costs. So number one,
I mean, wait, pause. I mean, why are you even talking about a child in that light in the first place? That's the strangest thing ever. I mean,
I agree.
I mean, like you should have a child because you wanna have a child. You want somebody you can love and nourish and educate and help develop. I mean, why?
Because they don't think of women and children in terms of humanity.
No, they don't. And they also and they also don't believe in future. And this is how you know we're really the legacy, because we give birth to it. We are the legacy. They are not concerned about their future. They are only concerned about the here and now, because if the children are our future. So if they aren't concerned about children, and if children are a liability, then why are they telling you to marry them and have children with them?
Thank you.
Yeah, like I mean, well, I've known that Kevin was a scumbag and all that stuff, but this is just additional confirmation for me. So it's like, why would you even hunt a child in that light?
Zesty predator vibes.
I mean, like,
And then you
I
can't
mean,
even see that. It's like, wow. So yeah, please, with that type of mindset, you another one on the list that don't even need to be thinking about no children right now. If you can't even catch on to that.
he's talking about a child like it's a security or like an object. I mean,
Yeah.
again,
And
that objectification.
this is a man that said they took boys out. I mean, made it a point because he didn't even have to make that point when he was talking to that woman. He could have just said, we don't need to be with women. We just need you for procreation and recreation and left it at that. But he
I forgot.
he brought that up. He brought men sleeping with boys up. So when you have a man that leaps, that's where his mind goes,
right?
And then he's asking a woman how her child can be an asset. How do you think of anything else?
Wait a minute, Jim. I forgot. He got that impulse, when he made that comment.
He understands the impulses.
He understands the impulse,
right?
I don't understand that impulse, so I don't know. I can't relate.
That's why a lot of them need to be registered. The Urbanista, your device. I think you have to allow your camera and your mic.
Yeah, man. I just thought it was strange as hell for him to, bring a child into a conversation of that nature. I mean, what the hell does a child have to do with that?
Wait, why did you run, little boy? Don't run away, little boy.
We need to start advocating for men who want to be with men. I understand the impulse, brothers. I do.
Why did you run, little boy?
Oh, Lord.
Go ahead, push play, DJ.
She well-mannered, well-behaved, smart, taking care. Does she understand? And do I really believe that you're going to come second to my husband? Is my husband going to come first? Or is it we're a package deal?
Wait. Pause, DJ. What? Dude, like, you're a grown-ass man. Like, you can do for yourself. I mean.
Yep.
I mean, I was raised with the belief that, children, eat first. I don't know about this, newfangled version of manhood where, this whole narcissistic, the man gets the big piece of chicken. I'm like, dude, like, you have children. I mean, they come first. The second, like, you father a child, like, your life is over. I mean, that's just the school I come from. That was how I was brought up. That was how I was taught, mentored, educated, etc.
No, these guys want to compete and in the meantime triangulate the children against the woman. It's a whole circus act going on.
Yes.
That's fucked up, man. And then like and the funny thing is they got the nerve to sit back and wonder why, the young people are doing what they're doing. And like well shit. I mean, you didn't give them guidance or anything, but you want to sit back and judge them and talk trash about them. After
they have no litmus. Like these people who do that have no litmus, and it's funny to me that they want to all claim, even though they claim that most homes are led by mothers and single mother households. But if you ask all of them, they were raised by two people. Yet they're here behaving like they was raised by zoo animals.
Well, Jim, you got to understand, like, they only told you one side of that story. I mean,
no, that's
they didn't
point,
tell you
that's the point, JP. That's the point. They're lying. Like,
they didn't tell you that a lot of those single mothers were underage. They didn't tell you that side of the story.
That's true. That's
being knocked up by guys.
That's a whole nother subject, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but if they were raised by two people who were happily married, their whole conversation would be completely different.
Exactly. Yep.
Right.
Yep. Look how the brother just sounded. You already know what was going on in that household. If anytime he's going to feel like his mother is deserving, he wanted to be happy, but she can't be married to be happy. She can't move on in life. Okay, so that's we see how you see it for her.
I mean, in my opinion, I think it's smart for the woman to, give more of her, time and attention to, the child. I mean, that's the future generation. I mean, a man can probably go out, do something crazy, drop dead anytime. I mean,
And most of them do. Married women outlive their husbands.
Yes, they
unless
do.
they get toe tagged.
Well, that's true.
Well, yeah, it's this whole, uh, yeah, but it's another subject. I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to go too deep into it. So,
Okay,
my bad.
Let's listen
JP,
to
don't
some
worry.
more.
We're gonna have a live on that too. Don't worry. We got one coming up for that.
That's no deal. I'll be honest, it's a package deal. That's no deal because let's say you and I were to get married. You got a daughter, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say we have 2 kids together. Mm-hmm. And your child is 5. So 10 years from now, your daughter comes home and said, Kevin touched and looked at me getting out of the shower.
What the hell? What? You know something?
What's going on? Y'all are going to jail. Period.
What happens next?
The relationship would have to end.
Huh?
That's not something the relationship would end immediately.
Because your daughter said I looked at her getting out of the shower. Kevin touched and looked at me getting out of the shower.
Wow.
And what do I say all the time about these dark scenarios? These dark, twisted thoughts and analogies. Just listen to their imaginations. Ask these guys, just pay attention to their imagination and their fantasies, and you'll see how dark and twisted, and then run immediately and don't look back.
Jeez. Gemini, where did you get this one from? This one. Man,
we need to start advocating for men who want to be with men. I understand the impulse, brothers. I do. But our women are not showing us. I don't care what they say. What are the women showing?
So then he's saying, well, how about the daughter? That's how nasty this dude is.
Right. That's how you have to show them. See, look, you see that? You see how you can put those 2 thoughts together? That's how you're supposed to show. You got to audition. You audition for yourself with your cooking and cleaning. You audition with the child so that they could be behind the scenes, hopping out the shower, looking at the child and all of that. Like, come on. The writing is on the wall.
Yeah, simple critical self.
Looked at me getting out of the shower. So that means I should never listen to it. That means I should avoid women like you because off the rip, your desire to defend your child blew up. You got 2 of my kids.
What the hell?
And off the rip, your protective instinct says everything, including those other 2 kids. Do you? No, you said the relationship would have to end. So what would you tell our 2 children?
That's a tough situation.
No, you said the relationship would have to end. So
it would have to end because
but what would you tell
any of my kids? If I had 3 kids, 1 by someone else and 2 by my
Well, what I'm telling you, what I'm saying is what we tell our 2 children.
Comes with a situation and we have to
see how he is making the responsibility. Right. He's making the responsibility. All the onus is on that child. The child is a child. The child is a child. What I will explain to my child is that their dad was inappropriate with your sister, and I'm your mother, and I'm your protector, and I will never allow anyone to do that to any of my children.
And you see how she knows something is wrong, but he's confusing her. He's spinning her. He's wrapping her around, and something ain't sitting right with her, but she just doesn't have all the tools to, get that much more power going within this conversation. So he's just trying to deflate her slowly, even though her woman's intuition is there.
Yeah, and I told you, it's this they emotionally, when people come into the room and they tell you, I don't want a loud woman. I don't want this. I don't want that. So they can they're emotionally preparing you to be that so that when they come at you, in your mind, you're saying, well, I don't want to present this loud, boisterous, masculine woman, because they've already put the seed in your head. And so
you see how he's doing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Gemini.
And you see, so she knows this, and she's on there looking for advice, and she already knows how he's going to react to her. And so now she's supposed to be this docile woman, but in her head, she's saying what I'm saying. In her head, she's screaming, but because she wants to present a certain way, she can't react in that manner because she doesn't want to lose what's the concept of what this man has said that she's supposed to be. So
And
she's
look
in
at, he's
prison.
acting like a typical predator, though. Look how he's telling her, he's isolating her with, what are you going to tell the children?
Right.
He's teleporting her into the future, and then he's shaming her the same way how these PEDOs will tell the child, oh, well, if you go tell, then, your family is going to be, your mother's not going to like it, like just the manipulation, like the manipulative tactics of applying that pressure on her. It's just, wow.
Go ahead and play some more, DJ.
This is wild.
And get the fuck out.
Because I'm not the one paying the bills.
No, because you're not taking my kids. See, that's what I mean. Y'all act like y'all got too much power.
It's not power. I'm really
first of all, you didn't even.
He's threatening her. Look,
she said it.
Oh my
goodness. You didn't even.
In an imaginary scenario at that.
Yeah, he's threatening her in an imaginary scenario, teleporting her to the future, and then punishing her for having to tell her children the truth about the situation. Mm-hmm. I mean, come on.
And this is the thing, but this is what happens in Black demographic. This right here, where are the healthy discussions? Why wouldn't you tell her something in a healthy way as opposed to being derogatory and demeaning towards her? How about, I think you should focus on your children, because if you get put in this position, you'll be forced to choose them.
Right.
And it would destroy another home because you've had 2 children. See, that's the way you do that in a healthy way. You don't have to be demeaning. You don't have to be derogatory. You don't have to try to break someone down to provide them a scenario that would show them that, okay, maybe looking for a man, a partner, isn't the right thing for me right now, because I need to focus on my children and my children alone so that I'm not put in this position. See, you can do that in a healthy way where you're not abusing someone, because this is abuse.
Yeah, this is. He's putting her, this is like Nightmare on Elm Street for her right now. Like, he has her in a nightmare and she's not even fully asleep. Like, and he's trying to convince her that something exists that doesn't, and that something that doesn't exist actually, like, he's just completely derailing her, and she's sitting there, and I can tell her woman's intuition. That's why she keeps resisting, but then he's still confusing her because he wants to punish her because she has a child. And this is how they do us. You're under fire when you have a child. So now you're beneath them, under their foot. So now you have to submit to even their dark analogies because you're ashamed and have this scarlet letter because you're a mom.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, just imagine that. I mean, you got a young lady. I think she's looking to him to provide like a genuine answer, help, solution, whatever. And this is how, I think it was a point I made earlier before I hopped off real quick, but this is how shit happens. Excuse my language, but, you got people that, okay, well, they get bed up by individuals that they know and stuff. And, okay, maybe this guy can help me out with a situation. And then you go to a guy like Kevin Samuels for help. And this is the type of treatment you get. It's messed up as hell, basically.
That's because she's been brainwashed. She's been brainwashed, JP, to think that it's like, why are women calling these men anyway? Like, that's the problem right there. Mm-hmm. You're calling a man who never will be in the position of you as a mother, and it's not even like this guy was a single father who raised his child on his own. It's just that women are feeling like, oh, well, let me just go ahead and ask a man because he knows men, despite the fact that they have a bro code and they're never going to really let you into their, to their full scenario anyway. And even if they are, 9 times out of 10, it's probably because they're trying to prey on you themselves. But that's a whole nother story. So it's just like, why are we sitting here seeking advice for men in general?
Right.
It's the auditioning process. That's what I'm saying. It's the constant
Right.
auditioning for favor of men, and particularly for Black men. It's like, well, let me go in here and show him that I'm different. And
Right.
maybe my storyline might be different. And it's like, no, you're just serving yourself up for further punishment, for
And
being
it
a woman.
is. It's exactly
Right.
what you said. Let me go in here because I know I'm different. It's like,
Yeah.
and I never understood that when he first started doing that. I was like, why are women even asking him for it? Like, what woman asks a perfect stranger who knows nothing about her and her situation to advise her? Like, you don't do those types of things because number one, he's not a therapist. Number two, he claims to be an image consultant and not a dating coach. So
Right.
what would possess you? What how many demons possess you to go in and ask this man anything? And then on top of that, you don't know his history. And if you don't know his history, how can he properly advise you? So, what we know now is hindsight of what he was. Now, I was introduced to him knowing that he wasn't crap anyway. So, there's no way I would go and ask the man anything. I just don't believe in asking a stranger something about myself anyway. I have better I have better people in my circle if I want to ask advice. But I do understand that these women are seeking something from men that they're not getting in their personal lives. And so they're going from these channel to channel to channel, and they're listening to these men, and they're trying to take on this image that these men said that they want. But the bottom line is these men aren't even consistent in what they say they want, and they're not representative of what they say they want either.
Exactly.
No, they're just predators that make. I mean, like it's like the whole good guy argument. I mean, they claim to be these good
Right.
people, but they're just as predatorial as the people they complain about. They're just like, damn. I mean, so now I've been thinking about like, well, shit. I mean, people who want to do good. I mean, it's like, how do we make that distinction? I mean, how do we convince them that we're not another predator? Just like the other 25, 50 dickheads that decided to exploit people's frustration and misery for profit, for a grift, basically.
Taking your time with that person, because nothing is, you don't have to be in a hurry. And I think
Right.
this microwave, we need it now, we need it instantly, is part of the problem too, because people aren't taking the time to get to know somebody.
Right.
And especially women, like, I get that men do I don't care what they do, but for women, they need to take their time. Like, nothing is in a rush. You don't have to give your body away, because giving your body away doesn't mean they're going to stay. 9 times out of 10, they're not. So if you withhold that and you require them to get to know you, and you get to know them, you can make some sound decisions with clarity.
I mean, at this point, take the clip of this video and go on your first date and play it, and then see how the dude react, and then you'll know from there. You ain't even got to waste no time after that. Shoot, that's what I'm on right now.
I don't mean to butt in, but a couple of weeks ago, I had this same conversation with my mother and everything. I mean, because she's wondering, well, how come you ain't got a GF yet? And I'm like, Mom, like, you got to take your sweet ass time to get to know people. I mean, it's different.
Bro, it don't take that long, JP.
No. Yes, it does. I mean, if you're serious about it, it does take that long, because you got to actually know people. I mean, it's different now, Big Tiz. Think about it for a minute. I mean, you meet somebody, they got their quote unquote best foot forward and all that stuff. I mean, which I don't believe in that personally. I just think you're just putting on the front and just wasting people's time, which I don't do that shit anyway. I mean, what you see is what you get with me. I mean, oftentimes I put my worst foot forward, because I know that I can go up from here. I can always look better from here. I have the means to look better and stuff, but as
Yeah,
far
but
as
it
like me
does take time. It takes time.
you gotta take your sweet behind time. I mean,
All
it's
right,
like
all right,
it
all right.
ain't
How long would you say it takes, JP?
it takes at least 3 months, 4 months before. I mean, and that's before you consider yourself dating anybody. Because think about it. I mean, you got to get past the fronts, the games, and that's with everybody, and not just men and women. I mean, not just men, but with women too. I mean, men ain't the only ones that shiesty out here. You got shiesty ass women out here too. I mean, that's just how the world is. People are opportunistic regardless of what anatomy they come into the world in with, right? So, I mean, the thing is, I mean, this ain't like the old days where you ask somebody out and then you date them and you get into the situation of just finding out stuff as you go along. Like, no, like it's different now. Like you need to learn as much about a person, the circumstance they're in, and everything before you decide, oh, okay, I'm gonna take a chance on you. But people with a lot of stuff to hide, they try to rush it along and everything. But if you're honest about your situation and stuff, then that might diminish your chances of, actually getting somebody to, jump on board, depending on, what you actually have going on and stuff. So it takes a while, Big Tess. I ain't gonna lie to you. It takes a while.
Just to piggyback off what you said, you wait a minute. I'm trying to think of what you said. You just said, um, they want to rush you along,
I mean,
and we've
some
seen,
people do that. I mean,
yeah, we've
I've
seen
been
videos. We've seen videos about the narcissist and the love bombing. They're trying to rush you along to get you enveloped in those feelings, so that
Yep.
true.
they can lower your defenses.
Yep.
Like, see, look, I know all about. I dated a sociopath,
Man,
so
y'all
I know all
paranoid.
about it. So that was fun, but I learned from it and kept it moving. Basically, I'm not hating all sisters because of that one particular person. No, because I know that they're all not. I mean, they're all women, yes, but everybody ain't built the same way. So why would I, take, something that happened to me for one person and then, subject somebody that had nothing to do with it to that, through that. I mean, I don't think that's right. So, but that's how I see it, right? But yeah, I mean, you do have a point, Jim. I mean, the whole rushing things along, trying to move too fast. I mean, that is kind of red flaggish. I mean, because think about it. I mean, if you want to be with somebody, then you want to be with them. So time shouldn't really be an issue. I mean, if you like somebody, you just like them. I mean, why
Right.
do we need this timeline of
It has to be
rushing
done
it
by this.
to
Yeah, it has to be
the
done by this
Yeah,
time.
because
right?
everything got to be quantified for these guys. You know what I mean? They got to know. Okay, 1 year for this. Okay, 20,000 for that. They want to, 1-2 step to life.
But you know what I think it is? I think the overemphasis on these so-called symbolic victories. I don't. That's what it seems like.
Yep.
There's an overemphasis on a symbolic victory, not
Right.
like an actual win where like, oh, okay, you're doing well, you're in a situation, circumstance that you enjoy being in. I mean, your kids, your children have access to things and opportunities that are most beneficial to them. It's all about these symbolic victories. I mean, what is marriage? I mean,
And it's not about the children. It's not the symbolic victories of the children either. It's always the symbolic
right.
victories of the adults, and most of the time, it's symbolic victory of males.
Yep.
So it's not beneficial at all to be rushing through something with somebody who's either a chronic time waster, or he has you what they say on the rotation or anything like that. So if you go into it knowing that this is their mentality, this is their mindset, especially if you decide you're going to deal with a black man, then why would you rush? Go ahead, hit play, DJ.
It's always the black man fault, man.
No, Tiz, that's not the point, man. I
No, no,
mean, they're just
I know what the point is, but she had to throw that in there.
Can you push play, DJ?
She hate hearing the truth, man. It's like it's like putting up a mirror.
No, sir. It's not like putting up a mirror to me because I own several of them, and I also own a therapist that I see regularly, and I am a therapist. So, sir, you don't shine a light or hold a mirror up to anyone, not
Congratulations.
even yourself. So you don't affect me in any way, shape, form, or fashion. But you know what you can do is shut the whole heck up. Can you push play, DJ?
You didn't even question whether or not the claim was there. Mm-hmm. Because that's your child. That's why I'm saying your child can never be an asset to anybody. Ask you to treat your child like it's biologically mine when you be willing to blow up my biological children's shit or something else. And you know kids can say anything. They can.
Look at that. Look at that. He's pitting the children against each other, pitting the mother against the children, against the mother. It's just, whoa, triangulation at its finest. This ain't even a triangle. This might be an octagon by now. Goodness.
No, that's divide and conquer. That's basically what it is, right?
That's exactly what it is. Yep. That's exactly what it is. Imploding the entire family, from the core.
But you have to protect your kids at all costs.
Then
protect your kids at all costs.
You got to talk.
Then no. Mm-hmm. Leave. No. Let's switch the situation. If I'm that child's biological father and she comes out of the shower and 10 years later, daddy looked at me a certain kind of way and I'm her biological dad.
What? He turned up the heat. Oh my goodness. He turned up the heat and made the daddy the predator now. Okay.
As if that makes a difference.
Ooh.
As if that will make any difference.
Ooh.
As a matter of fact, it will make it worse.
That's exactly what I was thinking, Gemini. I said as if that would make a difference.
Where's Big Tiz for this? Can you explain this?
Underneath you? He's right there underneath you.
Yeah, where, sir?
No, I'm above you.
Sir,
no, you're beneath her.
I'm above you, Gemini.
No,
go ahead.
In your mind.
What you say, Siobhan?
If that's what you say, Siobhan, to make your manhood feel better, go right ahead.
She's talking. She's
right ahead, sweetheart. Go ahead. If that's what you need to think.
What'd you say, Siobhan?
If that's what you need to think, sweetie.
What'd you say, Siobhan?
I just want to know what you feel about this. I mean, what you're hearing. Do you still have the same original opinion that you did about 10 minutes ago?
Well, I mean, the video keeps cutting, so
you need him to keep going on and on now that he's changed the scenario from another man to now the father is the one looking at a child coming out of the shower.
I see what he did. He put himself in the position of the biological father. So yeah, he did a little bait and switch. I mean,
do you think that's normal for a man to even say that? Would you be telling a woman on a date, what if I saw your daughter coming out of the shower? What would you say? Is that something that crosses your mind?
Of course not. I mean, because I don't deal with women with children, so of course not.
Wait,
but if I did, it wouldn't cross my mind.
So it wouldn't cross your mind enough to break it up like that, Don't some things sound suspect, Big Tiz?
Right, you don't think that there's something wrong with this? Something off about what he's saying?
I mean, would you tell a woman that, hey, I just saw your daughter, very young daughter, coming out the shower? Like, why would you even think about that?
Right.
Let's bring it up.
Yeah, I wouldn't bring it up. I wouldn't.
Oh, but you would think about it? No,
I wouldn't. I said I wouldn't think about it.
But him saying this doesn't affect you in any way. It doesn't matter what you would say. You don't think that this is a problem, this man saying this and giving this type of scenario out?
I'm not going to say it's a problem or it's not a problem. I mean, it is what it is.
Wow.
Oh, I mean, like, do you see the potential problems?
I'm neutral.
You can't try to elicit something from someone that's not there.
I do actually have a question for him. I do have a question for him because what I'm curious about is it really comes off as if you never ever want to say anything negative that a man says, right? However, I hear you nitpicking with every single thing that the ladies on any panel have to say, regardless of if it is the same thing that you just said 10 seconds ago, right? So I'm just curious why you feel that the man, and because he's a man, even though this does sound very problematic, you don't have an opinion about that.
Nope, not at all. I don't have an opinion about it.
Do you want to have children one day, Big Tiz?
That's irrelevant.
No, I'm just asking.
That-
Do you want to?
That's irrelevant.
Well, Tiz, can you at
You don't
least
have to answer, but
empathize?
it is
Do
very
you see
relevant.
your children
course.
as an
Very
asset,
relevant.
Big
Of
Tiz?
course, I
I'm
could put
curious.
myself in her shoes, and I could see on her face she's uncomfortable. But I mean, at the end of the day, she didn't end the live. She didn't get off the live. So I mean, see, never mind. I ain't even gonna say it. But
Yeah, we're talking
I
about
don't
what
have
he
I don't
said,
have an
though. We're
opinion
not
about
talking
it.
about how she could have left. We're talking about exactly the words that's coming
I
out
don't
of
have
his
an
mouth.
opinion.
So you
I
just
don't
said
have
you
an
don't have no
opinion about it.
opinion. Now you're talking about her right now
I
as
don't
if
have
she's the problem.
I'm not
We're
saying
talking
she's
about the words that's coming out this grown man,
I-
this gray hair grown man, damn near dead until they crossed over to the other side at that time. And we're talking about an elder of the community coming up with a dark-sided scenario, including a child versus their mother. And you have nothing to say about it, but now you're gonna talk about her. We're not.
What did I say
we're not
about her?
here for that.
What did I say about her?
You bringing her up in this when we're talking about what he said. Not she didn't have to stay. She didn't have to talk to him. That's neither
No,
here nor there. She
I
stayed.
said
She's talking
she
to him.
visibly looks uncomfortable about the whole
Right.
conversation,
Why do you think she's looking uncomfortable? Could it be because what he's saying
and
to her?
she could have left. That's what I'm saying.
It doesn't matter about what she could have done. We're talking about based on what you're hearing, not on what she could have done. We could speculate. And see, I said this before. Every time Black men always talk about what could have happened, what should have been happening, but never want to stick to the facts of what currently is going on. We're talking about what we're watching. We're not talking about the variables and the possibilities of what she could have done.
But you notice how you couldn't pull rank on me? You couldn't pull that. We got to separate.
Wait,
You couldn't
pause.
pull rank on me.
See, wait, hold on, man. Like, what? I mean, like, this is a woman supposedly coming to you for advice and for guidance and stuff, and you bring up pulling rank. I mean, yo, what's going on with that? What is going on here?
Look at the chest grin on his face.
This is a person coming to you for guidance and some advice, maybe some help. I mean, you might have been recommended to her by somebody she knows in the real life. And one of the things you emphasize is pulling rank? Really? Really?
You know what I think is really interesting about this? He's speaking about a hypothetical situation, but this man has a daughter.
This going to show you how they don't care about children,
Yeah.
even when they do have kids. So you can't even, you can't even concern yourself with that.
Correct.
Because, the fact that he's even coming up with this scenario and a man at his age, this speaks volumes, and he's doing it on purpose because he already knows. He knows the community. He knows Black women. He knows how we're quick to be uncomfortable, but still stay right there because we have to work on our situational awareness. And he's just drilling her along the way, and torturing her with this narrative. But this also speaks volumes about his character and who he is. And it further illustrates how he thinks. And as a man thinketh what, so is he.
So is he. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, wait a minute. This might be him just putting on a show for his followers that are mostly guys.
No, this is the show of who he is. This is him putting himself full on display. The only way you can clown is the way in which you can clown.
Right.
Like, you can only do things based on how you can do it. Even when you try to adapt somebody's character and copy and paste them, it only can go for so long. The longer that he came out and kept talking, the more and more it showed who he really was.
Right. This is how to be a scumbag 202, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and again, I mean, what I am dismayed about is the fact, like I said, this man is a father, and he is a father to a daughter.
But he
Some men,
comes from that generation. He comes from that era. He's seen it. He knows about that Mr. from Color Purple type of stuff, because that's where that comes from. That's those analogies. And that's that Lynn Whitfield from Tyler Perry dressing her daughter up to serve him to the husband, because after all, she rationalized to her daughter that she's the asset, remember, because she was helping out the family so that he could take in a single mom with her children. You see, it's the same scenario. He knows.
That's why y'all shouldn't have children out of wedlock.
That has nothing to do with it.
The truth said, I also think he is very aware of the sexual predators in our community. I don't believe in that word, and the high child molestation that goes on, and let's keep it real. And unfortunately, he knows to cater to those people.
Right. He knows the temperature, Truth. And then once again, this man just said it. You talking about getting married when the man just named the scenario as what if your husband? So she is a married woman in the scenario. She has children with this man. And what he's telling her is that you are going to mess up the family like all the peds in the family have done over the years. You're going to mess up the family. You're going to mess up the children in the future by telling them what I was doing when I was peeping out of the shower.
That's exactly right. Another thing I was going to say too is, that comment, here's the thing, right? Just like we talked about your parents earlier, Big Tiz, your mother was married to your father when she had you, and then your parents got divorced. So if your mother got remarried, then what you just said just does not apply, dear, at all. So, you can't make those kind of statements, right? Because it doesn't always apply to every scenario.
So are you saying that children that this doesn't happen to children whose parents are married? Are you ready to go on record by saying that?
Don't frame it like that, man.
But that's what you're saying, essentially. You said a woman should be married. So you're saying that this doesn't happen to children who come out of married scenarios. So I just want to make sure that you're going on record by saying that.
He did say that.
Was the lady in this video married?
This is a scenario that didn't even exist. He's given a hypothetical. He said it.
No, do you know though, sir? Because I mean, again, like, you made a statement and you don't even know yourself. You asked the question.
Was she married?
Sir, in the scenario, she was married to the father of her
married.
child.
I'm talking about in real life.
In the scenario that we're talking about, Kevin said that it's his biological child and they're married, and he saw her naked. That's what we're talking about.
I understand what you're talking about.
No, you don't. You asking if she's married. That has nothing to do with the hypothetical scenario that Kevin is placing upon her right now. We're talking about the hypothetical scenario of Kevin asking, if I were your husband and the child came and told you that I looked at them coming out of the shower, what would you say? So this is the scenario we're going with, Tiz. We're not asking about her personal life. That ain't what we on the scenario right now.
So my thing is this, right? She obviously doesn't have a man.
We're not doing deflection.
Yes, we ain't got time for this.
We ain't doing deflection.
I know you. Yeah, you ain't that slow in real life. So
eject has been employed. Go ahead.
Okay.
Push play.
Let me get some shout outs out of the way, and then we'll go back into it. Tomas is in the house. Jen is in the house. The truth is in the house. Monica is in the house. We have Lana Love in the house. We have Pookie Must Prime in the house. And I think I'm missing at least one more person. Tiff is in the house. There we go. Conscious Mind Love is in the house. Gemini's in the house, of course. And I think that Henry Mars is in the house. All right. This is getting juicy. Tiz, just to let you know, the thing is that when we're focusing on the scenario itself, we're focusing on that, not really, arbitrary elements like if she's married or not. Where we're focusing on, we're trying to find out from you is, do you believe, number one, the questions he's asking sound weird.
Wait, DJ,
if
this
you were
idiot
in that,
doesn't even know he's in the front.
And if Another question I have is this, is that if you were in the situation of being the child that was being seen naked, would you want your mom to do something, or would you want your mom just to stay with whoever it was?
No, of course. Of course, I would want my mom to do something. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But yeah, of course.
Okay.
You couldn't pull biological rank. You want to, but you're like, well, damn, it's his kid too.
Mm-hmm. It would have to be an situation as well.
And you'd have to get the fuck out. And you
Shout out to Columbus Hill in the house.
have to get out. And you have to get out.
Understood. I completely understand that.
So the end would be for who? You be leaving. This is why you don't deal with women with children.
Put it on pause.
Wow.
And see, he's always, and this is what they want though. They want to put you in a situation because they're asking women not to forego their careers and use their rooms early in life so that you can be kicked out at any time. Your life is in their hands, and they want this type of control because they lack this type of control in society. And so they need to be able to have this control over women and children so that when they go out, they can feel like something. This is where their manhood lies. And see, our womanhood doesn't lie in that. And we understand that we have to compete in society as well as put on another hat when we get home. It's like they're not able to decipher the two. Most of these men are very immature as it pertains to that. And he's telling her, okay, I would kick you out and keep my children. Sir, if my daughter is accusing you of watching her and being a pedophile, do you actually think that the courts are going to allow you to keep my child? When that child goes in and tells the therapist that my daddy's been watching me? So she's under threat of life and home in this scenario. So what exactly is she supposed to do?
This is my opinion. If this is the way he is and was, I can understand why his wife and his child wanted to be as far as they could away from him.
And another thing I want to speak to is the maturity level of these men. See, we have one on the panel, and all he can do is insult. He can't use his voice to have an intellectual, nuanced conversation. And this is exactly what's in the description. They always want to go on the attack, but they never can address the subject when the subjects come up. They always want to deflect and talk about something. We're asking him to give us his opinion on the scenario, but he wants to bring up this woman's real life situation, which is what a lot of them do. They want to ask you personal questions so that they can make it seem as though you're not qualified to talk about what you're talking about.
Yeah, he wants to say that basically, essentially, she's going to deserve everything that comes with it because she's a single mom and she shouldn't have had a baby. So that's what she gets for having a child. And then the guy gets to have free will to look at the child coming out of the shower. I mean, come on, and then that's her punishment, essentially.
Hey, DJ Church, I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, given the the video and the people's stances on the video, shouldn't that gear men? Because I mean, at the end of the day, you could say, the kid. Sometimes there are false testimonies, right, against men, right? And I'm not saying that all men are innocent, and I'm not saying all men are guilty, but isn't that like a reason as a single man to stay away from women with children because things like this can happen?
You know what? Here's the thing about what you say a lot, though, Big Tiz, is you use a lot. You refer to people as a monolith. We're all individuals, so that's an individual decision that an individual man should make based on his personal situation. You can't make these generalizations.
Hey, DJ
he's essentially saying children shouldn't be born. Then that's what he's saying. Then on the back end. That children shouldn't even be born because the man already gave a scenario that he's the father, that he's the actual father doing this. And you're still advocating for what? A man being around a child after he has his own child? Like you're not making any sense with what you're saying. You're essentially saying that children shouldn't even be born at this point.
Okay, Tiz, my thing is this, is that more than likely if a man gets in a relationship with a woman that has children, marry him. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm not really thinking about getting kicked out.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm just not thinking about it. I'm not that my goal is to, I mean, if you love kids, you love kids. That means just because they might not be your own technically doesn't mean that you don't get joy out of other children. I mean, that's just me and a lot of other men who just like kids. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
There are men in the world that just enjoy kids. They just enjoy the youthful kids, just being kids. You see what I'm saying? That's why men become coaches or men become tutors or men become mentors, because they love trying to instill good qualities into children so they grow up to be good women and men. You see what I'm saying? I think Kevin lived in a life where all he thought about was what he could get from a relationship, if that makes sense. Remember now, I know you've seen at least a couple of my videos. His wife was making 3 times as much as him. He was literally freeloading off of his own wife. And that's why I always tell women, or I should say advise women, that it's not a good idea to try to make something work with a man that's grossly under earning, because there's usually a reason why he's grossly under earning in the first place. And secondly, it just doesn't work out. It's just it's funny how even though somebody's doing better in your family, how others in the family can start feeling a certain level of animosity because of it. And a lot of men fall into that trap. They feel they are mad at their women because their women are higher earning than them. And so that's why, and it's not just in the Black community, it's everywhere, but it's more prevalent in the Black community. So I guess let me wheel this back over to where we're at. Basically, it's like this. If I'm going into a relationship with a woman with a child, then I am focusing on the relationship, not just for me, but for everybody involved. In fact, I will tell you this. Back in 2016, I started dating a woman, right? She had 2 daughters. They were both going, one was going into college, and the other one was 1 year out of before going into college, right?
Yeah, I'm
I
here.
stopped seeing her because all she wanted to do was hang out with me. And she kept neglecting her daughters. That's when you drop a woman. Because the reasoning is this: there are women that they focus on their man so hard that it's too hard. Kids come first. And to this day, her and I, we're still friends. Just, hey, look, I can't do this. I can't feel the way that her kids would call. Her kid would call, be upset. She'd be, I'll call you later. You see what I'm saying?
Right. So
I'm kicking it real with you.
So essentially, you're saying that because she wasn't focused on her children, that was a red flag to you because she was into you, and
right.
her focus
right.
should have been on her
right.
children. Okay.
Exactly.
Oh.
And
Okay.
but the problem is Kevin's speaking the opposite. He's saying that no matter what, you should defend the dude. I can't do that. So I'm telling you that so you know that I'm not being swayed or anything. I'm telling you a story that happened long before I knew anyone on this panel. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Okay. And
go ahead.
And that it's the thing is that kids have to come first for a woman. It's even in even in a married relationship, kids have to come first. They have no other defense. They really don't. The father's supposed to be there, but remember, that's really, even in a marriage, that's really even optional, unfortunately. So that's why the panel and I kind of find Kevin's behavior offensive right now, just so you understand.
Not kind of.
So, I mean, I hope that establishes an understanding with you, Tiz.
I understand what you're saying. Yep.
And one thing I will agree on is that any man with this mentality should never, in the whole wide world, date a woman with children if they have this mentality. None of them.
Right.
Well,
Shout out to Maya in the house. Shout out to Hazel in the house. M. Mills is in the house. Just want to make sure I get those shout outs in.
I think that's the point, Gemini, what you just said, right? That I think a lot of these guys don't even listen to sometimes is I don't think most women in these discussions are even trying to convince these type of men to date women that have children. Most women are saying, no, please do not, right? And the reason why you should not is because of the way that you think, right? We want to make sure that these children are protected. So the men that are like what Torch just mentioned, that like children, that enjoy children, should be the men that are having children and who are fathers and who could potentially be a good stepfather as well too, because there are men that value children, right? But if you're a man who does not value children, you don't have any business, first off, with a woman that has children. Second off, you probably should rethink whether or not you want to have children, quite frankly, because you don't value children.
Pretty much.
Let's finish with her because the next one is heavy.
Oh, Lord.
Because, especially in our community, there is no blending families when this kind of stuff comes up. Because single mothers are too used to pulling rank. Okay. This is why single mothers are potentially so dangerous. Because you're not used to having to actually split the responsibility. It's
you see that? Can you pause that real quick? Can we point out that word? That is dangerous? Really? Dangerous?
Dangerous for what?
Split the responsibility.
Right. No, the dangerous person is the predator. That she's not a danger because she's saying she will protect her children at all costs.
Yeah, he's trying to spin the narrative.
She's a danger to a predator.
Right.
But you know why he's saying that, right? He's saying that because he's trying to say that any woman that he's attracted to, he should have sexual access to. And he's upset that some of the women that he's attracted to are single mothers.
Oh, my bad, DJ.
Just quick shout out to Cadbury Hardwell in the house. I missed you. Hopeful EC in the house as well. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I see what the danger is. I mean, the kid might get in the way of him busting that nut, basically, because,
they always
you about to get it in.
Well, it's not even that, JP. He's talking about her children, and he's talking about being able to look at them. So he's not even talking about sexual access to her. He's talking about access to her children.
To the children.
Oh, hell no. What the hell?
Yeah,
no.
With the scenario, I mean,
Yep. And it goes back to what I said earlier. He's the one that's bringing up these scenarios, not the women that's calling it. He's bringing up these scenarios, just like with the boys, and men sleeping with boys. That woman didn't bring that scenario up. He did. So again, back to Siobhan's point, this is where his mind is.
Oh yeah, I mean, Francis Chris Wilson Ben told us, the LGBT, man, it's a Trojan horse for the pedo stuff. So.
Well, yeah, because you see how he's turning it back on her. She's dangerous, which once again is why she has to be punished. She's a naughty mom. So now she has to be punished by this dark scenario and submit to this predator looking at her child.
And this is a danger to the community. That's what I said. Women just don't date these type of. If a man is asking you these kinds of questions, you know automatically he's not the man that you should be dating. Because he's not concerned about the health and welfare of your children.
Right. I mean, like,
anybody who isn't concerned about this, anyone who isn't disturbed by hearing this, something wrong. And please
that's
stay with
messed
your
up.
children.
But I mean, but guys like him, that's the second biggest danger. The biggest danger is the women that will enable and cover up for guys like that.
Right.
That's the worst part of it.
Let's try to get through this so we can get to the next video, you guys.
Oh, okay, cool.
Single mothers are potentially so dangerous because you're not used to having to actually split the responsibility. It's your child. And that's fine. But then why should any man have to deal with that? So I feel sorry for you ladies, but this is the positions a lot of women put themselves in.
Wait, hold on. Wait, what?
See?
Go ahead and switch. Go ahead and switch to the next video. Yeah. And switch
my bad, Jim. I mean, this is too much, man. I mean, that was too messed up, man.
And we're gonna let this play and then we'll discuss it afterwards.
Oh,
we're not
okay,
gonna stop it. We're gonna let this play through and then we'll discuss it.
Okay, good. Okay.
Mom. What? I gotta talk to you. Talk to me about what? You came in my room again. What? He came in my room.
Here we go with this cheat. Well, I mean, okay, you came in your room and then what? Then what?
He touched me.
Touch you how? How the fuck did he touch you now, Chi? Like, I'm really, for real, at this point, you really starting to get on my motherfucking nerves. Like, he is a good man. Here you go with this same bullshit. I thought we had this fucking conversation already. I don't even want to fucking do this shit no more. So what else, what did you want to tell me? Tell me. He touched you, what did you do? What did you do for him to touch you?
I didn't do anything. I was asleep. It was after y'all came back from the club.
You know what? Your dumb ass, every time I look up, you got, so last night when me and him came from the club, he came in your room last night. What did you do? The fuck did you do?
I was asleep.
Okay, and then he did what? What the fuck did he do? What did he do to you?
He touched me.
Touched you where?
Touched me in the wrong places.
I'm sick of this bullshit. For real. This is a good motherfucking man. You running around all day in motherfucking booty shorts. What the fuck was you doing when he came over here and he came out the room?
Why are you mad at me? It's your boyfriend.
You my motherfucking daughter. You trying to take my motherfucking man. That's a problem.
How am I trying to take your man?
That's a problem. Why you wear them little ass shorts when he here?
You bought them.
Okay, I fucking bought them. For you.
Yeah,
but when my man come up in this motherfucker, you ain't supposed to have
so you gonna have his side, not mine?
It ain't got shit to do with size. This is a good motherfucking man. He paid his bills.
I don't want to be here, so I'm finna just call the police.
Oh, bitch, call the police. You can get the fuck out of my motherfucking house.
Good for her. I'm glad she taped him.
Wow.
Yeah, that's messed up, man.
So this is what Kevin wants her to do.
5.5.
Yep.
This is what Kevin wants her to. This is what he's saying that he wants that woman, a single mother, to do. Take the side of the man.
Yep.
Hey, like the most disturbing part was the mom. Well, you wearing them shorts. I mean, and like that doesn't justify anything. I mean, what the hell? I mean, really? So you're saying that a man is so weak, even though
she's brainwashed with the same logic. Yep.
I'm like, dude. I mean, it doesn't matter if a woman's ass naked. I mean, dude, like you don't put hands on people without their permission at all. Much less somebody underage.
Well, notice he came in the room though, JP. So remember, he came in the room. It wouldn't matter what she had on. He came into the room.
Yeah, like that's fucked up. That's very messed up, man.
And you know what I think is also messed up too? Her description of this man. So she said he's a good man.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good man, Savannah.
He's a good man.
Really?
Yep.
A good man is somebody who is sexually, like you just said, objectified a child and going after a child and going after your child at that, that's a good man? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just something that was caught on camera. What about all the incidents that don't get recorded and stuff
Right.
of
See,
this type of stuff
and
happening?
he gave her the ultimate notice. Kevin gave her the ultimate scenario. Forget drugs, forget guns. That's small time. He put the child as the sacrificial lamb. And this is what guys like this do. They come in and they do just what we just saw on here. And now the battle is on.
Man, that's such a trip.
And now
That
you know
was just a
you
trip.
now you have a woman going against her own child over this person that that somehow this is supposedly a good person, but she didn't really specify what necessarily made him a good person. She just said it in a way to dismiss what her own child was complaining about with the guy. I mean, that's no.
You want to hear something
that's
crazy? I bet if her mother told dude not to touch the little girl, he would leave.
Well, yeah, right. And he would turn everything around. She's trying to break everything up.
No, he wouldn't even say that. He would just leave. He'd say, forget this. I'm here for both of you. That's how sick these men are.
It's a shame. Is Tiz still here?
Yeah, he's sitting right underneath you.
Tiz, are you here? We want to know how you feel about this video we just saw. Are you there?
Yeah, I feel the same way everybody else do.
Okay, now you feel that way about this scenario versus the last.
Wait a minute, Tiz. In what way?
Well, we got video evidence.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you ducking and dodging. Okay.
Okay.
It's still not valid because we don't have video evidence of him doing it. We have video evidence of her telling him.
Oh, so it's not valid, Gemini?
No, I'm according to what you're saying. You said
No, it's not according to what I'm.
Yeah, no, it is. It's according to what you said. So this is the scenario played out. That's the only difference. This is a scenario played out for a recording.
Yeah, but what do you still didn't say what you felt about it? You can't say you feel the same way we do.
It don't matter.
What's exactly sticking out for you?
It don't matter. It's just I got concerns about it. That's it.
I know. What are those concerns? Yeah, what are the concerns from what you saw? That's why we want to know what you saw.
Why? So y'all could
so we could what? I mean, what you here for if you're not gonna speak about how you feel?
Listen. Let's just say if I was a dad in that situation and my daughter came up to me and said something like that, it would be a problem, yes. But then I would sit down and get, like, at first it would be emotion, but then I would gather the facts and go over, like, different time periods, and I would journal it, stuff like that. So
journal it?
Yeah, like write down what she's talking about, take an account, basically.
Okay,
for what purpose?
What do you mean, what purpose?
You say you would journal it and write it down, but for what purpose?
So you can cross-reference, like, so I won't get the times confused, stuff like that. Basically what detectives do when they
you're gonna play detective to your own child that you birthed, who's now telling you that another woman is going into her room and touching her. Okay. No, I'm trying to be clear.
So you wouldn't write what she's saying down. You would just go verbatim what she's saying.
No, I'm not a detective. This is my child. This is a scenario. First of all, I'm confused about how Kevin just gave a scenario out of his own mouth, whether there was any truth in it or not. You had a different opinion, but now that this woman is the target because this was a child going to their mother telling them, now all of a sudden you're very focused and your feet are firmly planted in the ground about how there's some wrong done here.
Kevin gave a scenario like you just said, so it's not true.
How do you know this
but
is
it's
true?
still, but it doesn't even see. So you really don't think that
this right here is it has more validity to
so
it.
you're waiting
like
for a fact
if
to
a
happen.
All this was the personification. All this was the personification of what Kevin said. So we fail to understand what your point is, sir. This is exactly what Kevin was saying. This is exactly what Kevin was saying played out in reality.
It wasn't.
It's like you're saying that prevention isn't cure. You know what I mean? That's, it's like, well, wait for it. Well, in these kind of situations, you don't want to wait for your child to put you into this type of scenario. This is the type of boundaries you want to put up. So I'm just saying, whether it's hopping out the shower or whether the guy comes in, because she never even said specifically what he did. Well, actually, she said she was touched, but just off the fact he came into the room, and it's like we didn't have to see anything, but Kevin actually gave you a scenario saying that there's a child going, because why would a child anyway? The second scenario was worse than the first, because why would my dad make me feel a certain type of way to where I would have to go tell my mother that he was watching me get out of the shower? That alone sounds just bizarre and out of place. No different than this guy is coming from the club, coming into this girl's room. I don't understand how you don't see them both the exact same way as being problematic.
Hello, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Man,
Okay.
we're waiting on you, Tiz. I mean,
let's just say in the video, which like it is true, right? Because we don't really have the proof. We don't, we just got her side of the story. If it's what she's saying is true, and she's not trying to break up a relationship, because some kids will be like, oh, I want my mom and my dad back together. I don't really like the new guy, so let me make a story up, right? If what she's saying is true, then how can I put it, y'all? I'm trying to think.
like, what child would have that type of thing on their mind in the first place? I ain't never met her.
I've trust me, bro. I've heard plenty of kids do these things to get the parents back together.
You heard from who?
It's not a stretch. It's not a stretch.
You heard from kids that said they did this?
Say it again.
You heard from children
stories.
No.
That's not commonly happening every day.
Wait. The question is, did you hear from children?
It doesn't matter if I heard it.
It does matter,
heard the
sir.
stories.
It does matter.
I've heard the story.
Can you not?
Now every story matters. Hey, y'all picking and choosing with the gouge at. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Okay, you get out.
No, actually, yeah, because that's not even funny. Like, we're talking about, children, so it's just like, this is not even a laughing matter, because this is a very serious topic, because what you're essentially saying is, no, he's walking in. See, he's another one. I'm glad he just said that. He proves the point that he's on the dark side as well.
Right, because my question was, it's a valid question. Was it children? Because JP said you heard a lot of stories, like from who? Because he said JP said he had never heard a child say this. Then Tiz said, oh, I've heard plenty of stories. So my question is, did you hear the story from children or did you hear the story from adults? It makes a difference.
And what men?
Did any child admit that they've done this? That makes a difference.
Right. And what men though? What men are saying this though, Gemini? What men are coming up with this? The good men, mind you, these are good men. Good men. What good men are coming up with these dark scenarios about not wanting to date single mothers because they may end up getting some SA accusations against them? Where's your mindset thinking like that?
Right. Exactly.
Just what
so
mind?
And it goes to show another thing. They need to choose better. If you're choosing women like this, then there's something wrong with you also.
Right.
So it's always this one-sided thing. But my concern was genuine. Are you hearing children say that they've set up men this way? Because that makes a difference, does it not? But you're saying you're hearing scenarios. You hear this a lot, but you're not capable of expressing who you're hearing it from. That's a
No,
problem.
he's just hearing it from these men in these spaces because that's who he's listening to. And this is the type of stuff that they talk about as if this is commonplace every day type of talk that goes on. Otherwise we would be seeing this more. These are isolated incidents that could take place. I mean, there are all form of isolated incidents within every scenario. There are all type of probabilities. But we also know on the flip side that this happens a lot within our community. So the fact that you're being disingenuous as if this isn't a problem and it hasn't been a
Thank you,
problem.
Maya, for reading between the
And
lines.
how many sisters
Thank you,
you
Maya.
must have and brothers, how many children are in your family who this
Can,
must
can,
have happened to?
hey, Siobhan, can I say something on the behalf? Now let me just make make it clear. I'm being honest with you guys because I feel like this is a safe place for me to be honest. So I don't want anyone judging me. And mind you, I was a kid, but I had those thoughts. I didn't want, it's not that I wanted my parents to be together. I was just very territorial of my mother. And I loved when it was just me, her, and my brother. I did have those thoughts and ideas of ways to break up my mom and my stepfather. I'm not saying it happens every day. I'm not saying it's a majority, but I'm going to just give him a little bit of just to say that you can't, children, as me, one of those children, I did have those thoughts. I never acted on it. But I did have those thoughts of lying and saying that he did something when he didn't. But I never, ever, ever, ever acted on it.
That's a difference though, Maya. And that was my question. Like, that's the reason I asked. Like, did you
Maya.
hear this from a child's mouth? You see what I'm saying? See, you're saying you didn't act on it, but did you hear from a child that they've actually acted on these things? And so the fact that he couldn't even answer that question speaks volumes to me. Is that
I'm not going
you're
to put
hearing
people's
it,
business out like
sir?
that.
You,
I'm not going
we
to
didn't
put.
ask you, sir.
I'm
We're
not
not
going to put
asking you,
people's
sir.
business
We're
out
not
there.
even
Like,
asking you to be specific about the person that told you this. See, you see what I'm
And
saying?
I'm ashamed.
That's your
ashamed to
deflection.
even have that type of thought, but I was a kid and I was just territorial.
Right. You were thinking like a young lady. And thanks for sharing, Maya. Nobody's gonna judge you here, but let's not forget. Let's not forget, because I want to use this as an example for what I always talk about. It's still derailing the conversation.
Yes.
Because the conversation, once again, is not whether these things happen. We already understand that there are scenarios and situations that happen. We also know that there are psychological, emotional issues that take place when there's divorce involved, when there's a step parent, blah, blah, blah. These are all incidents that, yes, they do take place. But we're talking about the thought processes of a man by the scenario that was placed before us within this video with Kevin. We're talking about how dark-sided that this is for a man to be talking like this and even coming up with this particular type of scenario in regards to dating. That's the main focal point, is how people are thinking and how their mindset operates in regards to relationships as well as children. So it's like, relationships are a risk, children are a risk. These are all risk factors. We're all taking risks every day. Life is a risk.
Exactly.
So it's just like when you stay in this type of level of thought, and you're thinking worst case scenario in general, then hey, I mean, if it's in relationships, then you're thinking like this throughout your life. This is your mindset. It's a dark place.
Well,
and don't get me wrong, no one is saying you shouldn't be cautious on how you move, because it is factual that men have a lot to lose if they get in the wrong situation with the wrong person. They could actually be facing prison or facing jail or their reputation or their livelihood. So nobody is saying that you shouldn't be cautious as a man when you're getting yourselves into these situations. However, to say that a woman is wrong for believing her children, that's a whole nother, that's asinine.
Right. And see, I don't know if you just got here or not, Maya, because this last story we just watched, yes, she was talking about obviously the mother's boyfriend. But in the last video, Kevin gave a scenario about how if he was the father himself. So let's not forget, we're talking about the man creating a scenario where the biological father is somehow making the daughter uncomfortable enough to where she goes to her mother and says, my father was looking at me coming out of the shower some type of way. You know what I mean? So that's problematic. That takes it a further step over from the stepfather scenario. This is your own daddy doing this now.
Right. And because the thing is, this is someone you grew up with. And a quick accidental came in the bathroom and leave back out is not something that a child would even report.
Yeah, but some children, they don't know how to report it. They just wash it off. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. You have that.
But they don't know what was really going on. They don't really understand.
And most of the time when they do report, it's something that's happened multiple times. It's not something that happened once. It's usually not even something that happened twice. And I'm gonna tell you from the people that I've provided counseling to, the parents don't even notice. And I've had conversations with colleagues that I've worked with when I was working in a hospital setting, and they would tell me things and I couldn't directly tell them something else is going on in your household. And it wasn't until that person exposed it to me that I was able to tell them I saw the signs, but I'm not able to just tell you that something is going on in your house. You see what I'm saying?
Right. So and can we pay attention to the context clues of the fact that they obviously came from the club, which means there was some drinking going on. Okay. She probably passed out and he walked into the girl's room. So how is this a scenario that's so far-fetched? And she's coming back a second, maybe a third time because she's already said this before. And it has to be more than a second time for the mother to be this irate about it. That means she's heard about this quite a few times.
Right.
Oh Lord, the nightclub, man, like that's dumpster diving.
Right.
And
that
we're
happened all throughout the
children.
70s with children at those parties, those house parties back in the 70s. That's what happened to all of those children of that decade. Those functions and those car parties going on. And then Uncle June wasted going upstairs touching on the children. We're not about to sit up here and act like this don't go on.
Okay, and you can even the Tyler Perry comedy that one Family Reunion, where they were telling the young girl to reach all the way in the bottom. Come on now. So they could look at her body and their relatives.
Oh my God.
So let's not play like this stuff doesn't happen.
Yeah, man, that's
more so than not with that lying scenario. That's what I'm saying. Like, and this is what happens. I every time we have these conversations, it's always these little minute 0.005 scenarios that come on to detract from the fact that we already know that our community is flooded with this. You don't even realize how many women you're walking past every day who this has happened to, how many women that you guys are going on these dates with and that you're making fun of, complaining. And I've heard Black men in these manosphere red pill spaces. I heard a group of Black men laughing on a channel about talking about girls talking about how they've been, touched as a child or SA'd in college. And they were laughing like, oh, I can't stand that. I can't stand hearing when they talk about that. So you can tell how many times they've heard it if they all agreed they can't stand hearing those stories and then laughed and giggled and like, I can't stand when they talk like that. When a Black woman is opening up telling you that she's been touched and she's been violated and you think it's a joke and you think it's a game.
Well, you know what that is, right? The manosphere literally trains guys to believe that everything that a woman says is a lie. So of course, like this is why you get the gaslighting. I mean, you could say something in as plain of English
wait
that
a
you
minute,
say
wait
it
a
in,
minute,
but
JP, and I'm gonna say this. I apologize for interrupting you. I'm gonna say this. They do that, and a lot of them are doing it as a defense mechanism because let's not pretend that they weren't being touched too.
I was just gonna say that. I mean,
yeah,
they were being
that's the messed up part about it.
Right.
Not only that, they had sisters that came to them and told them that.
And told them, exactly. Oh, it's so many layers to this. So many layers. Yep.
Oh, yeah. That's a rabbit hole.
I'm going down a dark road, man.
No, we're just telling the truth.
We're going down the road of truth. We getting off the dark road. We're going into the light, Caroline.
Notice when it gets dark. Why is it dark, Tiz?
No, y'all just creating these stories in y'all head, like y'all trying to obviously
See,
like
Wait,
their
no,
point exactly,
baby, no,
bitches.
baby, wait, no. Keep
JP.
going. No, keep going, Tiz.
no, I'm good. Y'all got it. Shit.
I know we do.
Okay,
See,
can I say one thing real quick?
it became
Can I
dark.
say
Wait,
one thing real quick?
Let me say this,
Let,
Torch.
let me
It
let me
became
just say
dark.
something real quick. Big Tiz, these aren't stories; these are stats.
It became dark when we started talking about men being touched. Did it not? It all of a sudden got dark.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
There you go, reaching.
Oh, there is no reach because we've been talking about children and women all this whole time, and you had nothing to say but a little bit. But when I said men, you said, "There we go, going down a dark road."
No, I'm saying that because y'all creating these like spider web stories. Like
We're not. We can add. Can we do a poll? Can we do a poll in the chat of how many people know somebody?
No, Siobhan, we're not doing
Okay.
that.
Obviously,
Okay.
obviously, we were talking about the women. Yes, it was dark, but I'm saying y'all making up other stories like,
No,
oh,
sir, this is
hold,
not just
hold
like
on, hold on. Can I
let me
finish?
I'm
Can I
not gonna
finish?
let you get that out. I'm not gonna let him get it out because it number one, a lot of us are professionals here. So I'm not making up anything. And stats don't make up anything. So this is not made up scenarios. This is something that I know personal firsthand from being a counselor, for being a therapist. So don't tell me what I'm making up and webs that I'm making up. These things happen.
Can I finish? I mean, you love putting me in the back when I'm speaking.
Because you're not saying you're
No,
speaking in circles and you're not making sense.
speaking
So go
though.
ahead and say what you have to say, sir.
Show some decorum. Show some
So
respect.
the decorum is eject. Keep
So
messing with me.
let me finish. So what I was saying was, y'all creating these spiderweb stories about the man being touched.
Okay. I don't know how else to keep talking to someone
you
when
basically,
you're telling.
he's basically saying it doesn't exist and it's not real. So
we're not doing that. It's
Yeah.
and I'm gonna tell you, it is a sensitive subject, and I understand that it's sensitive. But to pretend like it's not happening, and I'm sitting here telling you I provide therapy to people that this has happened to, and then you're going to sit here and deny and essentially call me a liar when we could look at the statistics, when we could look at the data. A man, let me tell you something. Let me give you an example. A man was touched as a child by his own father. His mother didn't believe him. So he became an adult and he's still dealing with these things. He was able to talk to his wife and tell his wife that these things happened to him. When he had a son, he didn't trust himself with his son because of the things that happened to him. It sent him down a spiral. And he eventually got caught up in so much. He sought help. He came in, he sought help. He was hospitalized. But he couldn't break that mind, that what was controlling his mind from what happened to him. So he eventually put himself in a position where he was murdered. Not because of him touching a child, but because of being on drugs and doing other things. But that haunted him so much that he didn't trust himself with his own child. So don't come on here telling me what doesn't happen and what didn't happen in a web and all this other stuff, because the stuff happens.
Yeah,
you don't want to face it is your problem and your problem only.
The other thing I was going to say too, to that, and this is what I have to realize myself. Just because something didn't happen to you doesn't necessarily mean that that's not somebody else's story.
Right.
And what I was going to say to the story you just told, I have a friend, male, similar situation. His father was abusing him, and he shared that with me. And I'm not a therapist, but he shared that with me in friendship, right? And similar situation where this man was struggling with even having children, struggling with having relationships with women, quite frankly, because of that abuse. And then come to find out, when he did go see a therapist with his family, his father had also gone through that, and his father was actually replicating the behavior that happened to him.
Which often
So,
happens. And
yeah.
people need that often happens. It's the abused becoming the abuser. And
Yeah.
it happens so much.
Can we to be fair to Tiz, and this is on my platform, can we at least hear what he's trying to say? Because I
No,
don't think
ma'am. No, ma'am.
okay.
Because he's been up here deflecting, and he's been up here saying all these things, and all he wants to do is come up here and counter. But for you, just for you, because I love you, Marie. I'm
I
gonna
mean,
let
'cause
him
I
up.
don't. I want to ask some questions because I don't think he denies it exists. But you have to
Oh,
understand in this scenario that Kevin presented.
We're not even talking about that though, Maya. We're
Oh,
talking about real life things. We're not
um,
even talking about that right now. When we started talking about males being touched, all of a sudden it was a problem. All of a sudden we're going down this dark path. So, go ahead and ask him your
and
question.
can I say something real quick before you bring him back up?
He's
I just
already
want
here.
Oh, okay. I just want to reiterate the idea of where they're always talking about brotherhood versus the sisterhood, and how, as if the sisterhood has somehow been given to us and is brought to you in part by some other type of entity. The bottom line is that women, yes, we're able to nest and come together because we're able to admit things in vulnerability. And the problem with things like this, with conversations like this, where you don't want to talk, is the very reason why Black men don't have a brotherhood, and why you guys can't open up and be vulnerable to each other. And you have no one else to go to. So you keep all of that rage, all of that hurt and pain built up. But then you want to get on these platforms and you got automatic weapons when it comes to Black women. And here you are, AK-47 at the throat when it comes to a Black woman. But then when it's time to talk about y'all issues, and when we are including y'all into conversations like this, now all of a sudden you want to run. So you can't be helped. First, you have to admit that there's a problem. And then y'all have to get together and admit that this is an issue. But instead, you want Black women to come babysit you when we're too busy trying to clean up the debris from this stuff continuing to go on within the community on our end. That's it.
Thank you, Siobhan. Go ahead, Maya, and ask him whatever it is you want to ask him. Maya.
my bad. I
Maya.
muted myself. I'm here. And I was asking the question too, but Tiz, you gotta, just for clarity for people on the panel, you do know that this does exist, correct?
What are we talking about, Maya?
Like kids touching other kids, boys getting touched by other boys and other girls, and just child abuse, period. You gotta you
Of course.
Okay.
That's in any society.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
In fact, and I think it's in Papua New Guinea, right? They're one of their customs, which is this is like disgusting, right? The Some of the men have to drink the semen of the elders. That's in Papua
Mm.
New Guinea. So a lot of cultures thrive off of, and I'm not saying it's right, but a lot of cultures, this is embedded in their culture, sexual exploitation of children. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I'm not denying that.
And what were you going to say before?
Well,
If you
I don't even remember, because at the end of the day, I mean, I'm
Because he
getting
was
cut
too
off.
busy putting
I'm getting
pig
cut off
pig
like this
faces.
right now. I'm
Yeah,
getting
just
cut
like
off
not
so
right now
much.
because I'm done with you. Yeah, he was too busy in the bag putting pig faces and being immature. And this is why I don't have a problem ejecting people like this and not speaking to them, because when you can't have an intellectual conversation and you defer to acting like a toddler in the back, I what for what? Why would I exert my energy with that? And that's what they do a lot. They come in and they're distractors, and we're having a healthy conversation, and we're trying to bring awareness to the issues that are going on within the Black demographic. But then you have people like him and other ones in the chat, that other one in the chat, that like to do things like this is a serious subject. And the whole premise of what we've been talking about is for women to be aware of who the men that you allow to surround you. Because at the end of the day, it's your children are your responsibility. At the end of the day, you see that society doesn't have a sympathetic bone for you. Even the black men don't have a sympathetic bone for you. And so, as it has always been, it's upon you to protect yourself and your children. We should never risk it all and have our children as sacrifices to us risking it all for someone who is there temporarily. Because trust and believe, these men are there temporarily, as shown by those first two videos. That guy is eventually going to jail, that was smoking weed and running around with a weapon as a felon. He's eventually going back to prison. And so she will be there with those 5 children alone, having to figure out how to take care of them financially, physically, and emotionally. And the truth of the matter is, this is what I do agree with men. When you have children, especially when you have more than 2 children, your main focus should be your children and your children alone until they reach a certain age. And another thing that I've had to tell women is that you don't finish raising your daughter at 15. You don't. Your children aren't raised at 15. That's not an adult.
Shoot, I'm good and grown. I'm still getting, quote on not raised, but advice. What should I do? And I'm all the way out here in California, and some decisions, even though I'm grown, I still get my parents' intake on it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, I do what I want, but their intake and what they think really matters to me.
Right. It should. Yeah. You still need to have a village around you.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you're an adult, it's good to have allies and people that you can call on. And that's why I said they don't have a brotherhood. They're complaining about the brotherhood they don't have, as if they don't see themselves as being the problem, because that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to come off of it and admit that you guys are having the problems that you're having. And that's why they keep deflecting and talking about Black women's issues and worrying about how much we paying for lashes and bundles, instead of focusing on their own childhood traumas that they don't want to admit to each other. They don't want to have a breakdown with each other, which means they'll never be able to build with each other. They got to break down first to rebuild.
Okay, and I want to address this comment by No Cupcakes on. Me and everyone of friends growing up bedded multiple older women. Nobody said nothing. So I want to know how old you were, how old you all were, because since he's saying it's every one of his friends.
I do hear that a lot.
I would like to know how old he was when they were betting these older women, because again, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I also want to know,
and I'm not saying that's a problem for the young men. I'm saying that's a problem with women. And
Yes.
I view women predators the same way I view male predators.
Yeah. And I've heard that a lot. Like I feel comfortable with my male friends, and we talk about when we lost our virginity or whatever. And I hear a lot of guys say that they were around like that age, 14, 15, 13, 11, and an older woman approached them and took their virginity. I hear that a lot. Some guys brag about it.
Right, yeah, and that's the issue.
Not saying that's not cool. That's saying that's
right.
not cool.
Wait.
Okay.
And that's the difference, is because the males don't see it as predatory like we see it as predatory. We would say that, like, I would end you, like I told you, 2 things that'll take me to jail: my child and seeing my husband with another man. Like those 2 things, and smile on my mugshot. Even if it's a woman, you're going down. Like, I'm gonna hurt you over my child, because you don't have a right to take that. You don't have a right to take their innocence from them. So I view female predators the same way I view male predators, and we could talk about that another time, because they don't even get half the time that men get. They get such a small amount of time from preying on young boys, because the men of society don't think that it's that big of a deal.
It is
Well,
a
I'm
big
I'm
deal.
concerned. I'm concerned about him even saying that because I'm wondering, is he still on the dark side of what he's saying? Because that is a rite of passage for men. So I want to know if Cupcake can correlate the fact that that same rite of passage is the same reason why men in turn give license to do this to girls because they turned it into a rite of passage of sorts. So that's why these type of issues can't be addressed if you're running around amongst each other having brag rights about laying up with older women at 14, 15, 16. So I don't know what side he's on the conversation. Is he telling us that just to tell us that in reference point? Or are you using that as somehow in a backhanded analogy to try to support a man doing it in reverse to a young girl?
And to piggyback when you say a rite of passage, think about what Lil Boosie said. Lil
That's
Boosie
that's the
said,
rite of passage, right? With his
right.
14-year-old son, right? Yep.
And you got to think about like we say, it's a trickle down effect because that's what happened to R. Kelly. R. Kelly was touched by his sister, and look what happened.
Right.
And I think she was abused as well, but it trickled down and caused. I don't even know the word to describe it. What it caused? It caused.
Yeah, it was a domino
violence.
effect because it went from, her being the victim to, now becoming the perpetrator. And that's the whole point of what I'm making, is that the victim becomes the perpetrator with this mindset because guys brag about this. So that's another thing too, that they're trying to blame on women. You guys have to come up as a collective of men, and you have to come to terms with whether that was right or wrong for you. They're looking for us as women to say it's right or wrong. I'm not even getting involved in that because we already know what it means. But that's what I mean. Always looking for, I'm not giving out no free bassinets, no car seats. You won't be getting a ride from me. Y'all need to come together as a collective and
Wait.
that's wrong.
Wait, and
so
this
y'all can
is
heal
it.
that.
And this is it. This is what it comes down to. Y'all women's mamas, aunties know y'all was messing with older men. Now y'all play victim.
Right.
This is the mentality.
That is.
This
That's
is the
why
mentality. And as if a young girl is responsible for what an older man is doing. And this is why the cycle continues, is because of degenerates such as this with this mindset. This is the kind of guy that would tell this. I can see him being the boyfriend in the scenario because he's saying the same thing that woman was saying to her daughter. Yep. You running around here with those shorts on. Why are you running around here with those shorts on? Why wasn't your door locked? He stumbles around and just all kinds of things that makes the child responsible for what the older man is doing.
And how is he accusing y'all mamas, aunties anyway? Like, no, y'all messing with older men. See, now they're trying, and then you're trying to cluster us all, and now by default, we're all Black women now are predators. Like, come on, you're not making any sense. And he's another one deflecting the conversation when we're talking about the videos we've seen. We're talking about the scenarios at hand, but now they have to. The Black woman must be thrown under the bus in some way, shape, form, or fashion. It's just a must.
Can I ask a question now? This might get a little tricky for somebody, but how do y'all feel about kids touching kids? Now, the reason why I'm saying this is like we go through our hormones as young adults and as
wait, Maya, qualify what you mean by that. But are you talking about a certain age or what?
Maybe let's say preteen age when our hormones are at its peak in middle school and stuff like that. Because I remember in middle school, the boys with flash girls and things like that. Now, me necessarily, I wouldn't call them predators, those kids predators. I feel like they need to be sitting down and talked to about their hormones because I have been touched by older boys as a adolescent and had to sit down and think about it. And then I was like, well, maybe they were at the peak of their hormones coming, like they don't understand what's going on, but they know this feeling of horniness or whatever. How do y'all feel about that? Like, because
Yeah,
some girls may
that's
not.
a deep subject, and I think that
And
that's
listen,
all dependent. Yeah, that's all dependent because there are age brackets of certain forms of exploration with children, but normally it's younger, But that's something that parents need to be more open in discussing certain things with their children, even outside of
Yeah.
what some of these schools are supporting in terms of sexual education and whatnot. Because that can go either way within that conversation, whether the child has seen something like, how we looked at Austin Halleman saying what he saw at 6 years old, that type of thing. So we don't know if someone's repeating something they've seen, something they've heard, but there are levels of exploration that happens with children. But if you're even telling the story that you're telling now, that goes to show that that's a disconnect there, because you still can't understand why you were even being touched in any way by this peer. So that alone shows that there's a problem. But if we're
At my
having
age now, I
conversation,
kind of understand it. I took it as their hormones. I didn't take it as the boy, or I didn't
but
take it as them being predators. I took the as
but we're
their
not talking about children with children. We're
Oh, I just wanted to know y'all
yeah.
thoughts.
yeah, that's a whole nother layer to that. That's what I'm saying. There are, you know what I mean, that's a whole nother form of research and
Right.
study that comes with that, because that's a very, very, like, that's going way to another, community of thought with that.
Right.
And
okay.
but if further supports what we're talking about now in terms of what this comment was in regards to inappropriate age of consent, of how men interpret sexual access to women versus how young girls are interpreting it in turn. Because like I said, if there's a badge of honor from the men, this further perpetuates why we have so much predatory behavior
Mhm.
going on in our community just in general. Because even though he just sat up here and said that, well, guess what? We already know on the back end that those same women who did that probably are victims of that happening to them in childhood. And I'm not absolving them of that. I'm just talking about the
The
stats.
cycle.
Right, and the cycle and how it repeats itself. So once again, if it is not addressed, and even in the brotherhood, see, the sisterhood, we have to address it our way, but they have to call it out, because see, that's the thing, they're not calling it out. We're trying to address it, and then they come in here and start bombing us with, oh, the other side of it. Well, then y'all have to address that, because y'all sit around and brag. I've seen men
Wait,
brag
not
about
only
that.
not only do they need to address it, they will never address it, because they don't even address the things that are killing them every 2 hours. They're not addressing real
Right.
life issues. They're only addressing what will benefit them. And that's women and access to women. They're not concerned about the real world things, and that's why they sit around and have circle jerks and never get anything accomplished and never
Yeah, because you
heal.
can't brag about this and high five each other like I've heard
Right,
black
and
men
then say
do,
it's a
and then turn
problem.
around and cry to us. Well, what about when I
Exactly.
was 14? Well, hey, you was just high fiving about it 2 weeks ago, so you got to pick which side you on.
Right.
With this.
And because we are willing to have the conversations, we are willing to be vulnerable, we are willing to be open about certain subjects and certain things, then we can have the discussions, and that's why we heal, because we're able to face those things and we're able to have the conversations. Go ahead.
Can I address some people in the comments? First of all, hopeful CE, apologies for derailing the conversation, but we was talking about the trickle down effect. So I wanted to know what the ladies thought about my question. And to you, Monica, I'm not protecting the image of black men. They can do that on their own. I'm just trying to be fair and give fair conversation, because us as black women, we can't say, oh, you did this to me, and not hear the other person's side. That's not fair, and we can't move forward as a community, even though Gemini doesn't like use that word. We can't move forward the community without hearing both sides of the argument. Thank you very much.
We understand you, Maya. It's just that I believe they're coming from the perspective of he's been in here derailing the whole time before you came on. But
that was the whole thing.
And
he was throwing the energy off.
Yeah, I understand, but I do understand you, Maya. Yeah. But
no, it's all good, y'all. See, this is what I mean about, it's just tender topics, especially when we're talking about children, you know what I mean? Especially as a collective of women, you know what I mean? The flames get hot.
Right.
Because
I mean, the claws
protector
come out.
mode. Yeah,
right.
We're ready to start, clawing. And especially when these predators get to come in here trying to rationalize this, it's like, So
you know the fun, you know, the vampire fangs come down, the claws come out.
right, all
I'm
of
like
it.
a hybrid. Look, I'm a hybrid of a she wolf and a vampire. It's on. Don't talk about babies. Don't talk about those
oh,
babies because it's on when you talk about some kids. Like I believe that I have. I'm with a mix of ninja. Like I could fly. When you start talking about babies,
oh,
so.
so you're like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, huh? Or Miss Hyde
No,
at
no,
that
no, no,
point.
no. There is no Jekyll and Hyde. I don't hide that part of
Oh, I
me.
mean, I get it. I get it. You know,
And I'm
it's
aware
wrong
of
to
both.
say,
No, no, no,
right?
no, no. No, you're saying Jekyll and Hyde. Jekyll and Hyde on aware. Hyde isn't aware of Jekyll. So I'm very aware of both sides of who I am, and I'm very comfortable with both sides. And if you get to see the other side, you're in trouble because I don't let her out. She scares me.
Yeah, and
Right.
rightfully so. I mean, like,
That's
No,
being
and
I'm
Jim,
honest.
no,
That's
no,
being
and
no.
Jim.
honest. Like,
Wait. I'm being very serious. The other side of me scares me. So she doesn't. I know how people talk about Geminis. You have both sides. I do, and I don't
Oh,
that
yeah.
I don't let her come out to play because she does. She scares me.
Yeah,
'Cause she,
because this is real triggering conversation when you can hear the flightiness. You know what I mean? The flightiness about these scenarios. And then turn around and they make everything about the woman and she's put in a bad place. And then saying things like, you know, concerning yourself with whether she's married or not is like, that's neither here nor there, especially for the guy to sit up there and come up with a scenario that he himself, as the father, is weirding out his daughter enough to where she has to go to her mother. Like, I just want people to look at the step by step of that. Look at how weirded out the daughter would have to be to go to her mother, where she's so uncomfortable that she can't even shake, that she's being looked at a certain way, hopping out of the shower with her father. You know, they just actually, speaking of which, they actually prosecuted a father who had installed a camera in the shower in the bathroom and was looking at his 16-year-old daughter. You know, so, you know, it's real.
and that girl, even though it's that girl probably don't even understand. She knew it felt weird, but she didn't know what it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the mother found it, the wife. The mother found
Mm-hmm.
it and immediately called the authorities.
Yeah, man, it's some messed up stuff, man. I mean, you got all these assholes, these predators, you know, running around violating children. I mean, yo, what the hell? And then like, dude tried to rationalize it. Well, in this part of the world, like, yo, like, what does that have to do with us?
and
Yeah,
you
I
know,
think he was
and
also
what's
talking.
exactly
Oh, I'm
Papa New
sorry.
Guinea, and I just let him. Like because they say you don't let they don't let us speak. I just let him speak. You notice I didn't say anything, which it had nothing to do with this.
Yeah, because I think he was talking about some type of ritual, which I didn't even want to get into because that would have just further derailed the conversation. And not to say it's right,
Yeah,
but you're talking about a country where, you know, there's a different type of tradition, there's a culture. So I don't know if that was actually something, some type of, once again, some type of rite of passage or something like that. But you're talking about some people who come from a tribal land all the way. We're talking about what's going on right here in our own backyard. And these guys will put you, I'm telling you, they'll take you back to another time. They'll take you to another country. They'll take you to another galaxy if you let them.
well,
Yeah, but
Siobhan, I mean,
sometimes
it's not even that. I mean, you know, right is right and wrong is wrong. Morality is universal. I mean, even if they did have that tradition, it's still wrong. You don't violate children like that, period. No matter what part of the planet you're on, no
but
matter
you
what
gotta
part of the galaxy you're in. No,
I
like,
agree
it's
with
Yeah,
you,
wrong.
that's
JC, but
exactly right.
they might not think it's wrong because just because we're in this country and we've learned these. Not saying it's right because I think it's disgusting, but to them and Papa wherever he said it was, they might not think it's wrong. So we have to listen to what people are saying to understand
No,
to
Maya.
No,
understand
no,
them.
No,
right.
Yeah,
Maya.
but
No, Maya.
No, no, no,
there are
no.
cultures that believe in cannibalism, right? There,
But
Yeah,
that's
but
but
not the
I mean,
that's
come
subject.
on.
weird.
But this is not the
Yeah.
subject that we're talking about, Maya. And you have to understand a lot of these guys that will come in this room and they would detract from the topic on purpose. So if we
Right.
don't if they don't get invited in the spaces is because we don't want our conversations derailed. If you're bringing up something that's valid, if you're telling us something that's valid that we can discuss, and you've been a part of the conversation, a fruitful part of the conversation, we have no problem with that. But when you incessantly try to derail it from jump, and you want to make up these things that you want to talk about that has nothing to do with the subject, no, we're not hearing them out. We're not allowing that. We're not allowing them to participate in that manner because what we're talking about is serious.
Yeah, and I
It is.
specifically had
I didn't
asked him. So
understand.
I specifically asked him how he felt about what it is he saw. So if you're sitting here saying that you don't care about this man coming up with the scenario, but then you want to start asking about if the woman is married or not, and you want to derail, then we already know
Yeah,
where you're coming from. We
that
don't
had
even need
no
to ask
sense.
any questions. Like, come on,
Yeah,
it's
but I
obvious.
just want the, I just want y'all to know. I know touching children is absolutely wrong, disgusting, immoral. Is not right. I'm just a person that wants to understand other person's thought process so we can come to a conclusion. You know what I mean? Like study the person's mind. Like where did this even come from in your head? Like where did that come from? Where's the root of it? That's what the person that I'm trying. That's the person I am. I'm like, okay, well, where did that even come from? Why do you think that's right? What in your background did you see that you to defend this argument? That's where I'm coming from because I think it's disgusting.
I hear you, Maya, but see, I think what you're missing is a lot of times in these conversations, a lot of these guys come on here and they're just trolling. So they just
Yep.
want to be divisive. And the issue with that is we're having serious conversations, and some of these conversations can help people, right? And when you're having those kind of conversations and people like him are playing games, and they want to just be divisive, they just want to be contradictory, like come on, we all know on this panel that that video, all of these videos that we've seen today are problematic, period. So for him to come on here and try to defend that, he's trolling. And
Right.
that's the part that it's just, as a people, we got to stop ourselves from doing that kind of stuff because we have
Yeah,
so many problems and so many issues in our community, and we can't keep playing games. We can't.
right. Taking things
And
as
you
a
know what he's
joke.
doing? You know what he's doing? Keep this in mind, Maya, because I know I know you're a little younger, but it don't even matter how old you are. This is the tale as old as time. When someone is telling you that the truth isn't real, when someone is telling you put it out of your mind, these are the things that the predators do, and also the people that support them. It's no different than young ladies like this in this last video who would go to their mothers, their aunts, grandmothers, other women in the family, and tell them that this was happening. And then Big Mama would tell you, go in the room. This didn't happen. Erase it out your mind, girl. That ain't what you saw. That ain't what happened. And then you're gaslit into thinking that these things aren't real. So for a brother to walk in like that and to say this, despite the fact that we have so many receipts left over in this community to support these things, you can't sit here and act like these things don't exist. So that's problematic in of itself. That means that he's just as easy as that type of father that when a child comes in, his son, and don't let it be a son because he's a machismo man, he's going to somehow tell the boy that it didn't happen and then it's not real. And how far is that going to take us as a collective, not only of Black people, but just in terms of humanity, where we're going to continue to ignore what's already in the room, especially talking points like this.
I agree. I agree with you.
Okay, I'm gonna read this last comment and then we're gonna do we can comment on the comment and then we're gonna do final thoughts. LaQuinta Fox says this part of the world have to with you is a lot of Americans go to other places to do BS. Your moral standard doesn't change based on location. If you do it there, then you're doing it where you come from.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I agree with that statement. Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
You're not activated, because you've landed in Paris. You're not activated because you won 188 million. You are not activated as a man because your wife, your woman, or the mother of your child won 188 million. There is nothing that's going to activate or deactivate anything that already resides in you.
Facts. So, we'll start with you, Maya, since you were the last to come on. Let's hear what you have for your final thoughts based on what you've
Oh,
heard so far.
I mean, this was a very powerful conversation, and I love everyone on the panel in the chat. And I agree with you guys on the derailing the conversation because we can't move forward and get actual solutions when you play games like this and think everything is a joke. Um, but when somebody is serious and really wants to put put their opinions out there, I just say listen to them, hear how these people think, so that way you can either know, oh, this is how that I can stay away from this person, or I can receive this person's energy, if that makes sense to you. I always try to listen to what that person say, to be like, you know what, you're not for me, and I need to step away from you just based off of what you're saying to me. But I'm just not gonna shut them down. I hear them out, you know. But I love you guys, and everyone be safe, please.
Thank you.
You be safe too.
The Urbanista.
I was just looking at what Tomas just said about somebody talking about killing Black women in the manosphere. And this is what I'm talking about, just the dangerousness, right, of some of these conversations, which is why we got to be serious, and we got to keep we can't keep playing games. You know, the things that you say, you have to be responsible for, and we have to take ourselves more serious as a people. I understand what you were saying, Gemini, I think a few weeks ago, and you said, well, are we really a community? And I completely agree with you, because a lot of these people are just, they're not a community. We don't want to be a community, quite frankly. But it just bothers me when, and that's why I started jumping on these calls lately. I'm sorry, these panels lately, because it bothers me so much when I'm hearing so many great thoughts and people that really care, and then I hear people that are playing games, right? It, it's not anything to play with. But going back to the topic of conversation, I do feel that I I think as women we really need to focus on the children, focus on ourselves, whether you're a mother or you're not a mother, right? Um, because we're in some dangerous waters right now with people that are predators and people that do not mean us well. I was just listening to something recently about the Taliban, and how the Taliban um, is this group of people that have completely taken away the women's rights now that Afghanistan Afghanistan has switched over to the Taliban's rule, right? And now little girls aren't going to school anymore. And children are getting abused, and it's just so sad that when you put a society in a patriarch's hands, that children and women become the casualties of that society. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Thank you for listening to me, and thanks, ladies, for the conversation. Thank you, Torch, for this as well too. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, the Urbanista. Go ahead, Siobhan, and I'm gonna
Yes.
address. I want you guys to know that I am going to address some things that I'm seeing in the chat that are very concerning. But go ahead, Siobhan.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, let me just say this. I won't be long winded. I'm really starting to feel like, in this moment, that the new vetting process needs to be, like I said earlier, and I'm not joking, playing videos like this. Before you even, I wouldn't even sit across the table with a guy without asking some of these questions. You know, Black women got to go into the sudden death round of this game if you're going to be out here playing. And this is just Black man, any man. You have got to see how these men think about children. And that would tell you everything that you need to know. I don't care about how much money they have. I don't care about if they are a Pulitzer Prize winner. You have got to play upon scenarios like this and just see the reaction. Just see it in real time. And this will let you know where you don't have to waste 30, 60, 90 days on this type of foolishness. All you have to do is just bring up these type of scenarios, and then you'll see where the thought process is. Because you got to open up your mindset and not think that people are literally thinking and are passionate about the same things and have the same values that you have. You have to watch how flighty people are while they sit back and watch terror take place, and they put their feet up and do nothing about it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Um, in the chat they're saying that they're talking about in pesos about these men killing black women, and I
Yes.
don't want black women to take this lightheartedly. Please, please, if you hear nothing else that I say, please protect yourself. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Protect yourself, protect your children, because this is real. These men are angry. This is not just online. This stuff translates.
Yes.
So protect yourself. If your state is open carry, or you can get a concealed weapon permit, do so, because these men are serious about our demise. This is
Yep.
not a game. It's not a game at all. And you need to believe people when they say what they say. So if they wanted us to be fearful of them, see, they're not going to get the results that they think they're going to get. The results that they're going to get is a lot of GoFundMe's for them, because black women aren't going to give a second thought to a man walking up to her in a threatening manner. She's just going to discharge the weapon.
And let me say this, maybe Tiz had a point, but I'm going to say it in opposite. Maybe we do need to start seeing these men as being dangerous, particularly if you are a mother. You need to start thinking about these things in reverse. This man said that you're dangerous, when no, this is a dangerous situation potentially that you could be putting yourself in when you have these type of men around. Stop listening to the family man stuff. Stop listening to these talking points. They're shallow and they're surface. You have got to dive deep. You got to go into the dark, and you got to go in immediately and find out how these guys are thinking, because with this type of mindset, you're going to be stuck. Right now, they don't want to be put out. They're taking over. They're taking out the children because they want you to suffer. They taking themselves out. They taking out the mom. They're not even thinking. It's grandmothers and other family members who have to take custody of these children and deal with the fallout because they're getting put out. This just goes to show you how barbaric that they are and how savage that they really are when they feel like their positioning is being threatened. And that's by the square footage that they can no longer stay in your home. So they're just getting more volatile as everything increases. I mean, after all, they are to blame for most of the crime that's going up. And do you know that they're saying that they're expecting it to further increase due to these evictions and the lifts that are going on, worldwide? Now, let alone within our country. So the temperature is just only going to get increased that much more. Do not give these men money. Do not hand over no money out your car, out your purse. Don't do nothing. Stay in silence. Stay sacred. Keep to yourself. And don't even entertain this type of foolishness so that you don't have to be subjugated to being a victim behind one of these damn bandits.
And I said this before, and I'll say it again. Watch these men's social media.
That too.
Watch their social media.
Ask them who they listening to on here. When you hear them key names, look, they don't even say nothing. Make no comment. Be quiet. Just take the notes and do it for yourself. Don't second guess yourself. You don't have the time. The time is too vital. You have got to get inside these guys' heads real quick. And there isn't a dinner worth sitting across from a predator.
Yeah, I think I hate to go here again, but I just want to say this. What you guys just said on point. Women, we keep trying our best to present all this for men. We need to be vetting. So when we heard Big Tiz say, "Oh, well, that's why I don't date single mothers." Single mothers, this is the kind of guy you should not date. He just told you that. He just told you that. And he told you that for a reason. You should run. And honestly, women who want to have children, if a man tells you that he doesn't date single mothers, you should run too if you want to have children.
Yeah,
Something is wrong with that man.
Well, not only that, he's telling you he's going to run from his responsibility.
Well, you see, when I asked him if he wanted children, notice I asked him for a reason. Did he want children? He said that's irrelevant because he's one of those people that thinks that something is going to activate within him when a child is born. And I'm telling you, it ain't going to happen.
Exactly. And it doesn't happen. Thank you, Siobhan. Thank you.
And look, King Lucifer said, what if they don't have a social media. If they don't have a social media, it doesn't even matter. You listen to their conversation. I said social media because a lot of them do, but you listen to their conversation. And this is the thing, and I don't believe in arming these men with the answers to the test. So, but what I will say is you need to listen more than you speak.
Exactly. Be quiet. That's what I'm saying. Black women, just be quiet. Stop giving up your autobiography. Stop trying to audition and prove to these guys and showcase all of your talents like this is a Barnum and Bailey circus act. You have got to listen to them talk. And like I said, take this video and play it for the guy and ask him his thoughts. And that'll tell you everything you need to know, in my opinion. I wouldn't want to know nothing else about a guy after I played this clip and he told me how he felt.
So we're gonna wrap it up, but I do want to ask the people that are still here if you could go into the comment section after the video is ended. Go into the comment section and just give us your thoughts and some ideas of what it is that you would like to discuss that's concerning you, that you feel like would be a great conversation for us to have. Yes, as always, we really, really, really appreciate everyone's time. We appreciate you for coming and spending the time with us and taking the time to have the conversation and being vulnerable enough to even share some of your own experiences. We are never remiss. We would be remiss if we didn't say thank you. And we just want you to know that we do appreciate you being here. Go ahead, Torch.
Money work. El mundo quiere dinero. Money work. Se arregla con dinero. Money work. Si me quiero educar, dormir en algún lugar. Un lugar para trabajar, y si no hay para emigrar. Todo money, money, todo el dinero. Solo un par de gente se lleva el putín entero. Funny, funny, pasa verdadero. Si tienen lo verde siempre llegará primero. Pero llegaremos antes o después. Solo a lo suyo, que Dios te lo ve. Que por más que tarde lo veré caer. Somos más lo bueno y tenemos fe. El dinero ya lo veré. No vendo mi alma, lo lograré. Seré el más grande, no olvidaré de dónde vengo ni cómo fue. Money work. Yeah. El mundo quiere dinero. Money work. Se arregla con dinero. Con dinero. Money work. Yo digo las cosas como son. No quiero ninguna aceptación. Tampoco vengo a pedir perdón porque mis sentimientos se volvieron la canción. Yeah. No me vale mucho como tú me ves. Sabes, tú me llegas solo a los pies. Para mí ser grande es un interés. Ser un buen humano para mí es un deber. El dinero ya lo veré. No vendo mi alma, lo lograré. Seré el más grande, no olvidaré de dónde vengo ni cómo fue. Money work. Yeah. El mundo quiere dinero. Yeah. Yeah. Money work. Se arregla con dinero. Yeah. Money work. Corazón, de corazón. La plata no te hace ser feliz. Yeah, de corazón, yeah. La plata no te hace ser feliz. Money work. El mundo quiere dinero. Yeah, 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 yeah. Money work. Money work. Money work. Money work. Se arregla con dinero. Money work. Lunático.